We're very tight for time up the top tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but it's a warm welcome to you on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube as we welcome you to Night 5 of Week 9 of Term 2 and Open Wheel Night on the platforms of the GSRC across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. This is the grid for round 9 of the GSRC Formula Ford Championship, race 1 of 2 from the Sonoma Raceway in California. As you can see, 8:46 in the morning. We'll get to the temperature and all that in just a moment. I'll get Joe to bring that tab back up very shortly. Jeff Adams and Art Baz the front row. Adam Lavis, Rodney Goll on the second row. Kevin Henderson, David Baz, Richard King, Steve Murray, Ben Ryder and Sam Chapman make up the top 10. Phil King, Brendan Grosh, Brett Bradbury, Aaron Smith, Sean Campbell, Aaron Cooper, the next 3 rows. Then Connor Nixon, Jackson Rayhana. Wow, starting that far down the order. Todd Hayne, Ben Woods from the 10th row of the grid. They're away. There are a couple of non-starters there as well. It's important to note. Beautiful conversion off the line from Jeff Adams. Got the better of Art Baz. Rodney Gollins jumped Adam Lavis to turn 1, but Lavis will get him back on the inside to the top of the hill. Let's hope they can get through there without incident. Few quick talking points off the top tonight as we let that roll for you. One is that the Formula Ford Series is being led by Jeff Adams, 320 plays, Art Baz 286 and Adam Lavis 282. How appropriate that the top 3 in the championship are in that order. We're on the NASCAR short shoot circuit tonight here at Sonoma. Same configuration as the Supercars ran, of course, on Wednesday night. And we have got 2 races here for you. It's a sprint round. It wasn't expected to be so. We promoted it as a 40-minute race earlier in the week, but we arrived in the server tonight to know that it is a sprint round, which I think, to be fair, hello Joe Baldwin, hello Greg Heaney, Zach Caban, of course, here in Central Commentary with you as well tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is a good call because we love our sprint racing, and around here in these cars, it should be a beauty.
Yeah, definitely. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, look, these cars probably lend themselves better to sprint races, Greg.
Oh, most definitely. I think a 40-minute session around here would probably be a little bit much for the boys in the Formula Fords. As Zach mentioned, we did have the Supercars here the other night. That was for an hour. It did get a little bit processional towards the end, but yeah, certainly more suited towards a sprint format for these guys. As we can see, one of the cars there. Is that Phil King running a little bit more?
Yeah, it was.
Yep, and Campbell up on his inside. Interesting to note, boys, Brett Bradbury's jumped into pit lane and is back. We'll be back out on the track in just a moment. No David Hayne, no Todd Hayne, no Scott Jordison. They all lined up on the grid, but they all qualified. They're nowhere to be seen on the track tonight. So we're down to 21. Brendan Grosh off the road momentarily. He's dropping down the order. With a sprint round comes a top 10 invert, of course. Not that that will be of any concern to Jackson Rayhana because he's already up 9 spots into 9th. He's firmly in the mix there. That was what happened to Brendan Grosh. He got collected twice. So, and Connor Nixon now showing off the road as well. So, not everybody's cup of tea, these Formula Fords, but they are keeping these guys on their toes early in the piece. 125.267 was the standing lap time for Jeff Adams. They're coming to the completion of the second lap in just a moment. That's a very early exit for Connor Nixon. Maybe he'll jump into the Indycar and get some laps around Portland. Maybe he'll wait for race 2 and go again and reset here at the Sonoma Raceway. So it's a double on the west coast of America tonight for Open Wheel Friday. And have a look at this. Adam Lavis up the outside of Art Baz. Set it up on the inside through 2. Around the outside at 3, Greg, and he goes to 2nd.
Yeah, and Rodney Gollin has just dropped 10 places in that exchange. I'd hazard a guess and say he probably ran wide or may have been bumped. I'm not entirely sure. I think we might have missed that, but he certainly dropped down the order. And yeah, well done to Mav to getting that move made. I did see them going side by side through turn 1, so
should just tie right off the top. Go for it, Joe.
He just got wide, so he was trying to make sure he gave room to Art. He's got out there and just trying to rest the car, just a bit too much trail braking, and locked the rears and parked it.
Can we just bring that weather information board, the tab up on the right-hand side of the screen, please, Joe, just to let everybody at home know. 8:51 in the morning server time. Don't worry about that because it's summer in the United States and you know what that means. Hello, Queensland. 14 km/h winds in a mostly northwesterly direction. 20 degrees the ambient, 21 on track, no rain, 84% humidity. Righto, Joe, thank you for that. Appreciate it. and we'll update that as the start of race 2 as well in the meantime. 4 minutes 19 of 15 minutes gone here. We're on lap 4. We're clocking 1:18s. So that makes the maths of it easy because it'll be very little in the turnaround time. 4 laps every 5 minutes. We will most likely, therefore, get 12 laps in this race. Down the inside goes Sean Campbell, making the most of a mistake by Ben Ryder as he slides back into 11th now. Phil King is 12th. Rodney Gollan on the comeback trail. He'll be trying to get himself back into the top 10 and back into the invert hole shot position. Richard King, Ben Woods still looking for their way through. Ben Ryder's gone. That will help Rodney Gollan. He's now up to 12th. Ben Ryder, the Team Max Boost entry, pointing the wrong way. There are a few trip-up points around this circuit, as we found in the supercars the other night, Greg. It can be very easy to bring yourself undone here, but this is a great little version of the racetrack at Sonoma.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It looks simple, but Sonoma itself is not exactly the most simple track, because particularly in the supercars, with all of the elevation changes. As we see Richard doing a bit of a loop there as well. And with all the elevation changes, it certainly makes it, with all of the power that the supercar has, it makes it very interesting to drive. And credit to the boys that managed to finish at the front end of that field the other night was, yeah, well done to them. It was certainly a one where it was hard to keep your tyres underneath you because it'd just want to chalk them up on the way out of corners. But yes, you are right about the trip-up points. There are a few, and I'm pretty sure the Formula Fords here won't take to the curbs and the bumps as well as the supercars did.
No, absolutely not. As I said earlier, folks, just leg 1 of a doubleheader tonight. A new venue for the club and a new venue for the Indycar series. A recently added track on the iRacing platform, the server. Portland in Oregon, Portland International Raceway. Really looking forward to that. Hope you can stick with us for round 9 of the Spreyton Cider Road to Indy series to round out this penultimate week of competition for Term 2. Hard to believe that we're already talking about grand final week being just around the corner. That all gets underway 7:25 on Monday night. Hendo under assault there from Jackson Ray Harner. What a charge from him on the way through the field. That's not a Summit Sim Sport livery, is it? Jackson's not in the traditional yellow that we've been seeing flash graphics run this term, but it's noticeable all the same. It looks like Barney the Dinosaur with the purple, tearing through the field at the moment and doing a great job. Well, Hendo's going to get hung out to dry there by Sam Chapman as well. Just keep an eye on that, Greg, because Chapo's lurking.
Yeah, oh, as he always is. I mean, it is Le Mans week as well, so they could be taking interest from one of the LMP2 cars that runs the purple dinosaur livery, and that's flirting with the tyre barrier ridiculously.
Too much for my liking. On the ragged edge, how good is that? There were no undos, there were no redos, there were no take twos here. If you trip up, you pay the price. Hartbaz fastest over the race, 1:17.784. He's hassling Adam Lavis. Jeff Adams is 1.7 seconds up the road already, so you could just about put a line through that. We mentioned the championship points already. I'm just going back through, trying to tick all the boxes. Adam Lavis and Art Baz still finding a way to be side by side. Adam's got the run on the inside. Art, if he can hang tough around the outside, will have the run at the top of the hill. No, Adam's covered him off for the moment. Art's still there, though. Side by side we go. Turn 1, turn 2, the run to the top of the hill. Art Baz is still there. Art Baz to the inside, gets Adam Lavis back and fed him out wide, too.
It's
the
still on.
Slippery nature of Art Baz. He was sliding through the corner, Greg. He had to consolidate the spot. Adam Lavis had to take evasive action to avoid the sliding. Art Baz did so nicely. They get through cleanly. They're unscathed. They're still on the ragged edge, flirting with that wall. And Art Baz will reset in second place, and Adam will try and set him up again.
So at the moment,
most definitely.
The top 3 in this race are your top 3 in the championship. So Adam doesn't want to be here. He's only 4 points behind Baz in the championship at the moment. So this is, yeah, I'm sure he'll want to get up there and fight with Jeff, but he's got his hands full with Art at the moment. So, yeah, there's a lot on the line for these guys leading here at the start of the penultimate round.
But the problem they've got, boys, the problem they've got is the man that they're trying to reel in is just taking off into the sunset. He's 2 seconds to the good already. Have a look at him. There he is, up the road, gone. Goodbye.
Now, if they keep fighting over the same piece of bitumen, Jeff Adams is just going to disappear off in the distance. And thank you to Aiden for correcting me and making sure I had my information correct. Yes, it's Spike the dinosaur. Obviously...
He tripped up on dinosaur, it's important to note as well, according to Toby. Hello, Toby.
But, so I reckon there's every chance. I mean, Flash Graphics could be running along with that one for this week, but I'm not entirely sure. Looks like Sean's getting a little bit twitchy in the back end there, trying to hustle the cars in front with Aaron Cooper and obviously on the tail of Sam Chapman as well. Again, flirting with that tyre barrier ridiculously. I was not even game enough. Like the Dragon then, maybe? Okay. Thanks, Josh. We'll stand corrected again, should we be incorrect.
I love it. I love it. Look what we've started. David Baz is gone! David Baz is gone! David Baz is plummeting down the order. There he is. And that's a Formula Ford that looks a little worse for wear and is plummeting down the leaderboard. It's going to lose out to Steve Murray, going to sit 10th, going to have a slowdown to serve as well because he's cut the circuit on the rejoin. And unfortunately, he's on the cusp of being punted to the top 10. Bang! There it is. Big moment. And if he doesn't serve that slowdown, he'll find himself in trouble, courtesy of iRacing. The problem for him is if he serves that slowdown, Richard King will probably find his way by, and David Baz all of a sudden is no longer in the invert pole position. Richard King is. Wowee. Good evening, Aidan Carl. Great to have you tuning in, by the way. Good luck on Monday night, wrapping up that GT4 title. A grand final week gets underway Monday night. Speaking of grand finals, World Test Championship, Australia 9 for 148. They lead by 222. South Africa will bat tonight. The game will probably finish tonight, so I'm thinking I'll burn the candle at both ends and watch that one play out. I've gone to bed at tea time the last couple of nights, but if that game's on the line and there's a chance it'll finish tonight, I might just stay up a few extra hours tonight and see that one through to its scheduled conclusion. But what a disgrace. A 5-day match over and done with in about 2.5 to 2 3/4. Fair dinkum. Bowlers just wreaking havoc there at the Lord's Cricket Ground.
Well, supposedly it's just a standard run-of-the-mill Lord's pitch with next to no deviation, but you've got some of the best bowlers doing the rounds at the moment on that pitch. They're getting more deviation out of the ball than they expected, apparently.
Dave Baz's night's gone from bad to worse. He's out in the boonies again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
No, not good at all. Especially when you're coming back onto the track with dirty tyres. That's the result of that. That's the consequence. Sam Chapman's got his way up to the 6th spot, still hassling Kevin Henderson. He's got Sean Campbell and Aaron Cooper for company. Jeff Adams, Art Baz, Adam Lavis, 1, 2, 3. Lavis the fastest lap of the race. And Sean Campbell with some drift work through the grass, if you don't mind. And look at that.
Oh, hand
How someone hasn't crowded the wall yet is beyond me. Down the inside, Campbell will look to capitalise on that as well. Aaron Cooper hung out to dry on this occasion. They're trying to get by Hendo. Chapo has done that.
And just to slide this in there, we've got Jackson Rayhana, who's up to 4th position with currently most positioned game with plus 14.
Wow.
That's solid. That is solid. That'll give him 7th on the grid for the invert too.
Ben Ryder's
should he stick around for that, because obviously he's got Indycar to focus on from Portland as well. But thankfully there's enough overlap time, and Ben Ryder just tripping up on the ripple strips. There's enough carryover time between the end of this race and the start of the Indycar race for him to go and get some laps in, get comfortable, set a fast number in qualifying, and set himself up for a crack at the championship. The points equation there is fascinating. 5 points between Watson and Lavis at the moment. Baz, Sutton, Michael, Fodiatis, Broad, Schmidtke, Oliver and Dance the top 10. Rayhana, in only a few appearances so far, has got himself 135 points. He's dropped a couple of rounds by virtue of the fact that he's not here. He's relying on other results. He's due a good result in the IndyCars, 10th, 24th, 5th, DNF, 12th, 15th. Long road back for Jackson Rayhana, but he will still pick up some silverware this season by virtue of the fact that he's on the cusp of securing the Super Formula Light title. And that, of course, comes up next week And we're off to Sebring for the title decider there, which means Nick Fodiatis will be nowhere to be seen, but he will be in the Indy cars from Portland tonight, and we're looking forward to that. Have a look at this. What a fascinating fight for fifth.
And using every bit of road and then some, apparently.
Yep. Jeff Adams will come back to the line. White flag in the air, boys. Let's go one more time around. 12th and final lap of this race. It gets us into a little bit of overtime because it is only 15. Unlike other sprint races where we go 16 and 27, it is just the 15 and 25 here. There's no leverage given, and off goes Kevin Henderson.
Hendo.
Off goes Hendo. Can you believe that? Wowee. If he can get back going, he stays 10th, but Rodney Gollan will be within striking distance before the end of this lap, you would imagine.
Well, I hope not for Hendo's sake, because he put in a pretty solid drive up to that point.
Absolutely. And Richard King down on the inside of Steve Murray. He's got that done. Gollan's still there lurking, trying to latch on. Hendo's got back up to 9th. Murray back to 10th. Jeff Adams has got this one, I think. Sign your life away. Jeff Adams is going to secure yet another race win in GSRC Formula Ford. He's going to do it at the Sonoma Raceway in California, and he'll put himself on grid position number 10 for race 2, and he'll go out after another win in the process. Let's go, Jeff Adams, another race win in GSRC Formula Ford. Art Baz holds off to Adam Lavis, then Jackson Ray Harder. What a charge that was to 4th. Sean Campbell, Sam Chapman, Aaron Cooper. Way photo. Chapman got it. Cooper. Richard King will be the next one through in 8th. Campbell held off Chapman and Cooper. Very nicely done. Hendo beat Murray to the line. King was 8th. Rodney Gollan misses out on the invert. That goes to Steve Murray. And Jeff Adams demotes himself to 10th for the restart. But of course, as we know, Greggy's well versed in racecraft in these things and overtaking as well. I mean, 3 seconds to start his campaign, a 4th when we got to Osher Slebman. So 4 second place finishes in his first 4 starts in this series. Then he's gone 5th, 2nd, 1st, 13th, 3rd, 2nd, and he wasn't on the grid last week. So his 2 drop rounds have been zeros because he missed round 1 as well at Virginia. But the rest of the season, I mean, apart from that 13th, he has been in the top 5. And consistency is how championships are won without being overly impressive, by the way, in which he's only won now 2 championship races, but it is better than some people in the series, that's for sure. But again, it's the consistency and the cleanliness of his racing that yields him that what was a 34-point championship lead going into tonight.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I can vouch for the consistency side of things as well. I mean, I haven't had the best positions through my current Porsche Cup standings. As we can see there with Jeff Adams with the very, well, I wouldn't say slim margin, but it's only 46 points. But when you get sprint rounds and depending on what these guys have got for next week, I think it could possibly be.
It's a sprint round to get at Brand Touch Indy, yeah.
I was going to say, even if being it is the entree race, I'm going to say if it was a super sprint, there'd be even more points on offer, but it could possibly have some more points there on offer for the guys next week. But it's certainly a manageable, possibly a manageable gap, but obviously with the caliber of the guys driving in behind him, Jeff certainly has his work cut out for him. But yeah, consistency is the thing. You've got to be there or thereabouts for the majority share of the series, and there's every chance you'll be knocking on at least the top 3 to 4, if not holding the top step at the end. So,
excuse me. Now 25 not out for Mitchell Stark, by the way, boys. 1 for Josh Hazelwood, Australia 9 for 156. The lead is out to 230. It might just be a winnable lead that they've got themselves to in the World Test Championship final. Joe.
We can have a look at the grid, I think.
Not quite. We've got 15 seconds left in the warm-up, mate. So a big thanks at this point in time to the people that make it possible for us to do what we do here on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. They include Spreyton Cider, Waste Options, Trophy AI, Orbic Australia, Bowen's the Builder's Choice, merch.tgsrci.com, and Flash Graphics. That other slide that Joe had up there for a moment we'll come back to during the intermission. When we'll also come back to, there it is, the GSRC merch store, gsrcmerch.myshopify.com or merch.tgsrci.com. Also awaiting a wheel spin with regards to Mountain Men. The car of choice will be confirmed via the spin of the wheel, the GSRC Wheel of Fortune, in just a few moments' time. There are some doozy race cars on that selection list tonight. There's no doubt about that. If we get the Clio Cup car, someone send out an SOS to Chris Whitaker, please. 3:30 in the afternoon, Steve Murray and Kevin Henderson on the front row. Richard King, Aaron Cooper the second, Sam Chapman, Sean Campbell the third, Jackson Ray Hunter, Adam Lavis the fourth, Art Baz, and Jeff Adams from row 5. 27 kilometre an hour winds in a mostly, what are we looking at there, southwesterly direction. 24 degrees the ambient, 41 now on track and still bone dry as it is in the wine region of California. And we are set to rock and roll. Rodney Gollan and Phil King from 6, David Baz, Ben Ryder from 7, Michael Shepherd and Edward Rollo from 8, Brendan Grosh, Aaron Smith from 9, Brett Bradbury, Ben Woods from 10. And Connor Dixon from 21st position rounds out the field. We're set. We're ready to rock and roll. Can Jeff Adams double up? Can he work his way through the field from 10th on the grid? Can Jackson Ray Harner continue his charge through the field? What can Adam Lavis and Art Baz do? We're about to find out. Let's go. Great start in California. Clean start, which is important. Steve Murray and Kevin Henderson are going to be side by side up the hill, but Murray's got the jump. Hold your breath, boys. Let's wait and see if they can get through the first corner cleanly.
This is probably the most nervous race for Jeff Adams that he's going to have all season. He's leading the points. He's got in the background there. Who was that?
Oh,
Ray Harner.
Sean Campbell's gone.
And Phil King.
Yep. I think you were right in the sense that Ray Harner was caught up in that. Yes.
Yeah, that was a definite netcode looking at it from here.
Wowee. Unlucky for Ray Harner. It was the car was slipping and sliding all over the place. He couldn't gather it up, and that's his charge done.
And Hendo was all over
no doubt.
Hendo was all over the back of Steve up the front there, but he's obviously washed out a little bit, and now Hendo's under pressure from Aaron, Sam, Richard, and Mav.
Oh. Yep.
This is going to be on for everybody down at the hairpin here.
They were 3 wide. Adam Lavis will be hoping to not get himself caught up in that. Great run off the corner for Lavis to get by Richard King. Up 2 spots already. Art Baz up 4 spots already. Sam Chapman up 1. Aaron Cooper up 2. Big movers inside the top 10. Rodney Gollan and David Baz up 3 apiece. Richard King gets back by Adam Lavis on the drag race up the hill. There goes Michael Shepherd being passed by Benny Woods, who's now up to 12th, up 8 spots already. Connor Nixon's charge is up 7 spots so far. I mentioned the cricket. It's a big night of footy as well. Adelaide and Hawthorn in Tasmania, and of course the NRL as well. It's getting underway in a few minutes' time. Trouble up the back. We've got Connor Dixon and Michael Shepherd. Oh, I spoke too soon about Connor. Sorry.
No incidents in race 1.
Race control. I don't know who's in race control for us tonight. Let me have a look. That might be Scotty Jordison, maybe. But there's no one in our race control channel. Ben. There goes Benny Woods. Unfortunately, he had a good start too in race 1. In race 2, and it's all come undone on the second lap. Connor Nixon and Ben Woods find themselves on the tow rope. Whoa!
This is going to get spicy.
It'll either get spicy or ugly or both. Someone's going to have to show a little bit of discretion here.
Looks like Chapo's getting hung out to dry. Sitting on the outside.
How would you like to be this guy's rearview mirror right now? Hendo's got them stacked in there behind. They're all, an angry bunch. Art's on his way around the outside. He doesn't want to hang around.
Not going to get him. Hendo's covered it off. They covered up the door for Gollan as well. And Chapman too. Have a look at this. Chapman up the outside of Baz. Got him. King got Baz as well on the exit, down the inside. The floodgates have opened and up. Baz can't contain them. Whoa! They're still flirting with that wall, aren't they? Lavis down the inside. Oh, Baz.
Yeah, I think he had to bail out from that so he didn't tag wheels with the next car.
And he's got his brother alongside him. Hey, fine.
Trouble. He's in trouble early. Being hustled and bustled out of it.
Is it my imagination, or did these guys get together 2 weeks ago in a big way?
I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Baz guys came together with each other.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there probably could have been some choice words said post-race, I'd reckon.
Which makes the work that they put together as a team last night all the more impressive, that they were able to put the on-track incident to one side. Last night, of course, David held the pack up and Arts cruised through for a Super Formula Light sprint race win at the Hungaro ring. That was very nice teamwork and very
Chapo's
well done. Chapo down the inside gets by Hendo. Thank you for coming.
No, he doesn't.
Hendo has hung it out.
No.
Chapo's in the wall. Richard King as well. There's a couple of others caught up. Let's have a look at this. Hendo, the slightest bit of wheel contact, and Chapo gets loose on the ripple strip.
He's done well not to break his suspension. He's only glanced the fence.
Adam Lavis now gone.
What happened, Mav? Back.
So, yeah, there were a couple of incidents on that lap. Richard King's on the tow rope. He's back in pit lane. So we need to have a look at this. Lavis in the middle there. Oh, contact that time with Art Baz. Yep, he's gone.
Well, he's done. I'll give him credit for the pirouette. That was pretty good.
Unbelievably good. Sam Chapman now showing 15th down 10 spots. Oh, trouble, final corner. There it is. We were waiting for that. They're both on the tow rope. Rayhana's caught up again. Oh, no, they've been able to get out of it. Well played, boys.
Oh,
Rayhana. And was it Phil King?
It was.
Rayhana's bailed out of it. He's done. There were a couple of other off-track alerts around the time of Sam Chapman's incident that we just didn't get back to. There's the lock of wheels, and Rayhana unfortunately had nowhere to go out of that one. And he's not redeeming that. He's not saving that. Job done, race done. Way!
Jeez,
Kevin Henderson still holding on to third.
How would you like to stand on top of that wall during the racing? I reckon that'd be a very, very scary affair, to be honest.
It'd be an awesome photo opportunity if you're brave enough.
Yeah.
I think next time we're here with any series, we need to put a camera on top of that.
I
think we will. I think we will. And so too Sean Campbell. Let's have a look at Phil King.
Phil's got broken suspension.
Oh, bang.
Off.
Wow.
Who was that?
Okay. Right, that's no man's land. That was Aaron Smith. And he's been in just about every shunt that we've seen the last 3 nights, unfortunately, Aaron Smith. He's had more hits than Elvis. And that one not his own doing.
No.
Unfortunately, he's arrived blind on Phil King. Right, Richard's got back out there. He's down a lap. Bill, Aaron Jackson, all on the tow rope. So too Connor Nixon. Benny Woods is out of business. He's just parked up and said, you know what, I've had a gutful, I'm done. And who could blame him? And that is Steve Murray in the second place position at the moment. Aaron Cooper leads the way, 0.8 of a second to Murray. Hendo's 3.6 down the road. So it's between these two at the front. They've seen off all the threats of competition before them. But David Baz, Rodney Gollan, Jeff Adams, Ben Ryder, Brendan Grosh, then Adam Lavis and Brett Bradbury. The amount of incidents we've seen here, the amount of drivers that have found themselves in trouble in this race. Chapo, of course, back into 12th place now after being as low as 15th. And, trying to go around the outside of Hendo, but the ripple strips were his undoing. You just saw that the car did not like the way he was riding across them. And it spat him out the other side. Geez. Yeah, there's some big winners and some big losers in this, as there always is. And important to note too, gentlemen, when we look at the two championships scenarios here, Jeff Adams has stayed clean. Adam Lavis has not. But then more to the point, Art Baz has been in trouble as well. This is falling beautifully into the lap of Jeff Adams now. He sits 6th. He's 3 positions clear of Adam and 4 ahead of Art Baz. Brendan Grosh has punched out the fastest lap of the race, 1:18.732, but this is opening up perfectly for Jeff Adams.
Yeah, it's a case of just managing to stay out of all of the incidents that are happening around you and just being able to maintain it on track and just keep it pointed in the right direction. And as we said off the top, it's just consistency is what we need.
Had an awkward entry into that corner. He sort of looked like he outbraked himself. I thought he was going to get the wall on the outside, actually.
Yeah, it certainly did look like he ran a little bit deep there into the corner, and there is a fair chunk of runoff where he kind of had his little skip there. But it looks like Hendo's got that one well defended, but I think Rodney's got a run on here. He is on the outside, but he's obviously dropped in behind Dave Baz there. Baz with a run on up to the through turn 1 and up to turn 2. Not quite enough speed to be able to get overlap with Hendo, and he's covered that off. However, it's opened the door there for Rodney to at least get a sniff on the back of Dave and give him a little bit of pressure down the back of the hill.
Hendo.
And, oh, Hendo
Gone. Hendo's out of business. Out of the top 10 now will be Kevin Henderson. Well, actually, no, he's going to stay 10.
Yeah, just a little bit more than halfway, and it's just picked up the front right tyre and just turned him around. Very unfortunate. He was doing very well up there in the 3rd position. The biggest mover of this one now is Brendan Grosh at plus 11, so he's just been able to maintain.
So Cooper leads Murray 2 seconds to margin. And David Baz, Rodney Gollan. The only disappointing thing about all the incidents we've seen so far, gentlemen, is that's 11 minutes of racing down, eight laps of racing down, and there's still 15, 14 minutes to go. And the field's so well spread out. Adam Lavis is under pressure from Art Baz, and Ben Ryder and Kevin Henderson are trying to latch on. This is the battle for third you're watching on the screen at the moment, but these guys have not got a hope of catching Steve Murray or Aaron Cooper right now. They're 4 seconds behind Murray, who's 2 seconds behind Cooper. David Baz holding on to third, plus 10. Good recovery after tripping up in race 1. Oh, geez, you're just waiting for someone to smash into that wall and spew back out onto the racetrack, aren't you?
Oh, someone's going to find it. The rate they're going through there, it's either going to be a front left or a rear left tyre that's going to find that wall at some point. But this little angry pack of 4 cars here, if they can kind of work together, there's every chance they might be able to close that gap up to Steve in second place. But they've got to realise how much time they've got left in the race. And as you said, they've still got 14, almost 13 minutes now left to run. If they keep battling and squabbling with each other, they're not going to, they're just, as you said, Aaron and Steve are just going to scamper off up the road.
Keep it straight, keep it tidy. Jeff's in a position now where, like, Rod and Baz and that, he doesn't need to pass them. Like, he's got a decent gap. He's a bit over 3 seconds back to Mav and Art at the moment. So I'd be managing that gap, like just making sure in front. And what that does, that'll give him a couple of, 3-4 position buffer when he goes into the grand final next week.
And that's the point. Knowing the equation, knowing who his opponents are, knowing that they're behind him, he doesn't have to take any risks here. He can play it safe. He can tuck in behind and sit there and wait for Rodney Gollan or David Baz to either make a mistake and let him through or see themselves out by way of, pit strategy or whatever the case may be. Oh, and you can't prepare for dive bombs like that, though. What a move from Brendan Grosh. Down the inside. Where the bloody hell did he come from? How good's that? Brendan Grosh moves up into position number 5. But again, Adams is still ahead of Lavis and Baz, and he is to the tune of 3 seconds. So he's doing everything he needs to do tonight. It was just 2 wheels in the dirt there that brought Jeff Adams unstuck.
Yeah, Jeff had a
Grosh
bad
went down the inside.
off, so very easy to do. That gap's down to 2.5 seconds now. Back to Mav with still, we've got 11 minutes left to go in this one. So that's another 8 laps. Get your zaculator out. 9 laps maybe.
Yeah, so, well, that's the point. If we get back to the line by the, I think it's a 20-lap race, but I could be wrong. The deciding factor is going to be that carryover time. So Aaron Cooper's not quite at the start-finish line yet. As they come round now, there he goes across the start-finish line now, and it's 10 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, the way I see it, it's 8 laps in 10 minutes. But that's with me saying 1 minute 15 just to make it easier for my own mathematics. You add those 3 seconds to it, you're not going to get that 9th lap. We got the 12th lap in earlier because it just nicely worked out mathematically that we got back to the line before the 15th minute of the lapse, and we got to do about 45 seconds of overtime. But this time round, the pace isn't there in the way that it was earlier. So, yeah, Cooper's only got 8 laps to go. It'll be a 19-lapper. He just needs to keep it straight. He can't afford too many more tank slappers like that. So Cooper will get us to 19 laps on the current pace. I don't see any reason in which we go any less or more than that. 18 is currently going to be the penultimate lap. That'll be when the white flag waves at the end of that. The 19th might require just a smidgen of overtime, Joe, but not much at all. And still plenty of time for things to chop and change around here, particularly with Jeff Adams and Brendan Grosh. Good to see that he's still got the elbows out and wasn't afraid to throw it down the inside and get back by Brendan Grosh in the meanwhile. Steve Murray's being caught by David Baz. So that's the next problem for Murray. He's a sitting duck because those 4 are working together. Baz, Golan, Adams, Grosh, they're all latched on and gone. So they're about to reel Murray in, but they're not catching Aaron Cooper. Cooper leads by 5 seconds. The only person that can lose this race for Aaron Cooper is himself.
Yeah, he's got a fairly solid lead there at the moment, 5.3 seconds. But yeah, he doesn't need to rush from this point or miss the wall by that much.
He could probably use with an extra tyres width to that fence, though.
Correct.
For my liking, they're all getting just a little bit too close. Like, I know us guys in the supercars were flirting with it, but I don't think we were ever that close for the duration.
Now, some breaking news in, boys. Of course, tomorrow night at midnight, we'll be sitting down to watch the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But I can tell you that the World Endurance Championship calendar for next season has been confirmed. Latest start to the campaign. They're going to start in Qatar on the 28th of March. Of course, that's about 4 weeks later than what they did this year. 19th of April, which isn't Easter Sunday this year. It's a couple of weeks after. They'll go to Imola. The 9th of May, which is the eve of Mother's Day, of course. They'll be at Spa in Belgium for 6 hours there. The 24 Hours of Le Mans will overlap with the Spanish Formula One Grand Prix weekend, which, again, just highlights the stupidity of the FIA. We were talking about Formula One Liberty Media and the FIA going up against the Indianapolis 500 with the Canadian Grand Prix next year the other day. This year, they're going to go up against the Spanish Grand Prix with Le Mans. I don't like it. I mean, maybe they'll start Le Mans early, 1 hour earlier, and start the Grand Prix an hour later. So start it at 3 o'clock French time, Central European Daylight Time, and then start. Jeez, that's a car on the wall. That's definitely a car on the wall.
I think that might have been.
Yeah. I think that might have been championship leader Jeff Adams. Have a look at that.
There it goes. I told you somebody would find that fence.
Now, did he find it, or did he get some help? Did he get some help from Brendan Grosh? We need to have a look at that from another angle. Have a look at this.
Did it himself.
Found it on his own. You're right. Yeah. I'd like to see it from the onboard from Brendan Grosh as well. Just here it comes. There's Brendan Grosh on board with him now. If we can go back and have a look at that incident from his on board, Joe, that'd be great. Jeff Adams is on pit road, and this is a championship-defining moment here. Oh, jeez.
No, Jeff.
Groshy did well to avoid that, to be fair. But yeah, just that flirting with that line of danger one too many times. Jeff Adams is on pit road. This will be a fast repair and to get back out there. There's no guarantee that everybody else has to stop yet. In fact, considering that we're at the 19-minute mark, I would imagine that no one has to stop. And Jeff Adams gets back out there. What's happened to Adam? There he is. There's Adam Lavis. I was going to say, has he had a packet loss again? Jeez. So championship-defining implication moments here with Adam Lavis and Art Baz set to claw back some of the deficit to Jeff Adams in this race now, who drops back out in 12th, which goes to show you the rate of attrition in this race and the amount of trouble drivers have had. He drops back out in 12th. Adams there in 6th. Art is 7th. Game on next week. Jeff Adams cannot wrap it up tonight based on that, unfortunately for him. But fortunately for us, it means we're going to have a live title decider next Friday night. We're very excited about that. Sprint racing around the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. And Steve Murray's just been hung out to dry there. That's Brendan Grosh going to 4th and Murray back to 5th. Rodney Gollan is 3rd place at the moment, chasing down David Baz. And Brendan Grosh has got Steve Murray, Adam Lavis and Art Baz for company now. Lavis and Baz would love nothing more than to get by Steve Murray, knowing that Grosh might be just a little bit out of reach. But an extra position, an extra couple of points between them and Jeff Adams, who is going to be coming home in 12th, barring another mistake or a late retirement. Any extra leg up they can give themselves going into next week, they'll take. They'd love to get Murray. Grosh would be a bonus. Adam Lavis now all over Murray like a cheap suit. And Baz to the outside. Not going to happen. I'll come back to the rest of that World Endurance Championship calendar very shortly, gentlemen. 2-3-15 plays 0-2-2. Very goalless first quarter in Tasmania. Friday Night Football, Adelaide leading Hawthorn by 13 points. NRL at the moment, I can tell you that the Titans are taking on Manly. The score is 4-4 at this point in time. And Australia still limping along at 9 for 169. That lead is 243. You get the feeling that if they can get it to 250, it's out of reach for the South Africans. There's Sam Chapman on the comeback trail down on the inside of Kevin Henderson, going down in position number 8. It's all happening. Art Baz and Adam Lavis have both got by Steve Murray as well whilst I've been going around the grounds. Plenty happening here, and Rodney Gollan all over the back of David Baz. Oh, action aplenty at the end of 21 and a half minutes.
Well, see, Zach, they saved the best for the last few minutes for you. They've certainly turned the wick up for the guys that are up the front to have managed to catch Steve Murray and relegate him 6 places, unfortunately. But
yes,
good to see Hendo still now running around inside the top 10 after his excursion across the sand. But yes, you are certainly right with the championship implications here with the unfortunate incident there for Jeff a couple of laps ago. And bring on next week for these guys for sure. It'll certainly be an exciting sprint round next week.
Indeed it will be. And Brands Hatch Indy's the type of circuit that'll produce some spectacular action as well. There's Jeff Adams in 12th.
No man's land too. He's
correct.
Nearly 13 seconds behind Brett Bradbury and 21 seconds ahead of Michael Shepherd. So he's now at the point where he's just got to let the laps tick down and hope for his sake that some of these guys have a bit of bad luck like he did. But these guys, they're definitely driving at the top of the game tonight. They haven't been much further apart other than going through traffic. So good effort by Ads and Art tonight. I'll tell you what, Brandon Grosh, he's up 13 positions in this race just quietly. Like, he's had a pretty stealthy run, and Dave Baz is up 11 to be sitting in second at the moment. So, like, he's not going to catch Aaron Cooper, like, unless something bad happens to Aaron, which we don't want. But he's definitely put in a solid drive in one as has Dave and Brandon Grosh.
Boy, oh boy.
Didn't
Another
he have a
spanner in the
spin
works.
earlier on? Dave did.
Dave, Dave Baz had a spin in race 1.
Race 1.
Right, race 1. It
Yeah.
fell down, started 13th for race 2.
That's
Art had a spin in race 2, has recovered back to 6th. Had that muck up with Adam Lavis, of course. Lavis has recovered to 5th. That tells you everything you need to know about this race. It's been crazy. White flag in the air. Let's go one more time around from Sonoma Raceway in California. Aaron Cooper leads at 5.5 seconds, or 5.25 seconds. He's held steady. 1 lap, 1 minute to go. So, as I said, bugger all in the way of overtime, gentlemen. Aaron Cooper, David Baz. So often has it been the case throughout the course of this Formula Ford season that it's very hard to double up. If you see the trend of races that we've had throughout the course of this campaign, and I'll run you through it now. Like we had sprint racing in round 2. The winner of race 1 was not the winner of race 2. That was Dylan Shepherd. He's nowhere to be seen tonight. In round 4, we had sprint racing. Again, it was Jeff Adams, 2nd and 5th in the 2 races, winning the round. So nothing. Daniel McCrowan on that occasion was the winner of the first race. Go for it, Greg.
Zach, mate, to cut you off. I'd be watching for a move from Ads at the last corner here.
For sure. I'm Brendan Grosh.
He was
right there.
Grosh going up and over the hill.
I'm coming back to that point about race winners. Down the inside, Adam Lavis, no. Opts out of it. But he might get the run on the exit. He might get the run on the exit. Grosh was a little bit slow on the exit. Art Bass is right there as well. Aaron Cooper's got the win. Don't worry about that. David Bass goes second. Rodney got on third. Photo finish. Can Art get Adam? No. Lavis just misses out on Grosh and held Baz off by 0.07 of a second. 4th, 5th, and 6.2 in that. Oh, boy. Adam Lavis was in the position, but I reckon he had the run, but I reckon the way Grosh tied it up was what checked Adam up, to be fair. And that's been the difference. He held off Adam Lavis, and Adam then had to get on the anchors and get on the defensive and hold off Art. He made it as difficult as he could. Art couldn't get by. Steve Murray comes home 7th, the case of what might have been for him. Chapo was 8th again, what might have been. He was 15th at one point. Good recovery after being 5th early on when he made that mistake. Hando 9th, Benny Wright 10th. Brett Bradbury, Jeff Adams. Geez, that's disappointing for him. Michael Shepard, Edward Rollo. And then Richard King. I'm getting my Eduardos and my Edwards mixed up. I don't know why. Edward there in 14th. Richard King 15th. Long list of walking wounded, gentlemen. Have a look at the retirements. 6 of them. Started with Connor Nixon and Benny Woods. Continued with Jackson Ray, Hunter, Aaron Smith, then Phil King and Sean Campbell. And, of course, that was a spectacular exit from Aaron Smith, to be fair. Up and over the concrete wall and into the spectator area. We'll have another look at that shortly, I'm sure. Oh, boy, Aaron Cooper, well played. David Baz, good recovery. Up 11 spots in the second race. Jeff Adams and also Adam Lavis and also Art Baz get through, not completely unscathed in Jeff's case, but they do get through. They tick the box, they finish, they push on. Jeff will still have the advantage, you would imagine, in the championship, but he's made a little bit more work for himself going into next week, boys, by virtue of the fact that he was only able to salvage 12th there in that second race after winning race 1. So, again, the trend continues where when and where we have sprint racing in Formula Ford, that we have a different race winner in race 1 to race 2. We haven't seen a double up at any point throughout the course of this season. It's been quite extraordinary. David Baz was 1st and 2nd at Donington Park. Jeff Adams 2nd and 1st. At Alton Park, it was Sam Chapman winning the first race. Adam Lavis 2nd and 1st. Last week, 1st in race 1 for Art Baz. Second race was, of course, picked up by Sam Chapman. So, I mean, we are yet to see someone double up. We talk about it being important in GT4, in GT3, in Porsche Cup, in supercars, but so difficult is open wheel racing, and so tight, hard fought and cutthroat is open wheel racing, boys, that we are yet to see someone do the double here on a Friday night.
Well, yeah, for sure. And I mean, these cars are very much, if you're unfortunate enough to be stuck in no man's land like Jeff was at the back end of that race, you don't have the pace to be able to catch the cars in front, because the only way you get these things to go any faster than what the little engine in the back can is have somebody in front to get a tow. And yeah, if the guy in front manages to break that to you at whatever position you are on the track, you're just going to end up getting gobbled up by the cars behind. So yeah, and credit to Aaron, who managed to break the tow early and then just drive off and had a decent margin at the end there. I will make comment though, the gap between Art and Adam at the end of that race was only marginally smaller than the gap between Sam Chapman and the position ahead of him in race 1. The gap there was 0.09. They actually managed to knock it over to 0.07. So photos in both races, yeah, that's a plus.
All right. Now, just an update. We've got Jeff Adams. Yeah, we've got Jeff Adams about to jump on in and have a chat to us, and we're looking forward to hearing from Jeffrey. But just following up, you know how I mentioned there earlier that there was a Queensland Motorsport post from Morgan Park Raceway that only went up tonight and was talking about this weekend being last weekend and, you know, whatever else. Correct comment from Tony Chapman, actually. He said, first thought is that the admin didn't actually approve the post until tonight, which means the poster of that can't control that, and that is a fair point. I'll pay that to Tony Chapman. But thankfully as well, my shuttle did get the state being 112 years and 1 hour behind at this during the summer months at least. Not this time of year, but certainly the other half of the year. Has already had some positive feedback as well. So I'll take my small wins where I can get them. Speaking of taking your wins where you can, Jeff Adams will no doubt do that. Hello, mate. Nice to have you in the booth having a chat to us. We're going to get to the Mountain Men Wheel in just a moment. Joe's already firing that up, ready to let it crank. But before that, damage limitation, really. Great job in race 1. Fought your way through, got the job done there, won the race, well played. Unfortunately, on a night where everybody seemed to be flirting with track limits and going centimetre perfect up against that tyre wall, you're the only one that got tripped up by it. It results in a fast repair trip down pit lane. It results in you finishing 14th. 12th, I should say. After rejoining the race on lap 14. That's where I've tripped up there. Apologies. Glass half empty, glass half full. Not ideal because it's allowed Art and Adam to claw back some of the deficit. But at least it's not a DNF. You're still in the box seat to tick the box and sign the deal and win the championship next week, mate. Talk us through it. Well done on race 1 and hard luck in race 2.
Yeah, thanks, mate. First race I was quite happy with, obviously. The boys were fighting behind me, which gave me an opportunity to sort of break away, and so all I needed to do was just hit me points and just keep setting nice clean laps. Second race, yeah, as you pointed out, wasn't exactly the best of my races. I haven't tripped up too often during this series, but that was a big one. But I was lucky enough to do a little J-turn flick and got the car going again, and unfortunately it was a meatball. So the car was driving fine, but unfortunately you just got to pit.
Yeah, that's fair. It's difficult when it's an iRacing thing, and you can't overturn that or wipe it or anything like that. But in saying that, mate, difficult one because you would have loved to have remained in contention for a top 5 finish there. That second race was going beautifully right up until that point. And it was clear that not only does this car agree with you, and we've said that a few times this season, but it seemed as though you were enjoying this circuit as well.
Yeah, I've always liked this circuit. It's a shame that it hasn't been on the rotation as much as it is. But the limitation on this, the points loss, I'm pretty sure I haven't lost too many points there. So it should be, hopefully, all I need to do is have a nice clean race for the last race, which, you know, touch wood, and should be able to bring it home.
All right, mate. What are your thoughts on Brands Hatch Indy? Typical traditional English circuit. Last time we went and raced in England, it was, I think I'm right in saying, Alton Park a few weeks back. So it's been a while between drinks. It's going to be very interesting to see how this championship plays out. And it'll become clear very shortly, no doubt, what the equation is for you and what's required to tick the box. But what are your thoughts on Brands Hatch, firstly?
That's a good track. Yeah, good fun track. These cars are good pretty much everywhere. I mean, I think the only tracks that these cars would probably be bad at would be Le Mans and those type of long tracks. But these things are fun. I enjoy these cars. I've just, as it's shown throughout the series, I've just it's clicked, and I love these cars, and I'm hoping it's on the rotation next season.
Speaking of next season, have you had a look at the Bend yet?
Yeah, trying to get my head around it. I've never raced it at any other like sort of sim. It's the first time I've even seen the track, and and I don't even really know where the track goes. So, but with the new GT3s and everything like that, it's been a ball.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Obviously, first focus here on IndyCar and Formula Fords, but what else are you looking at with a bit of an interest towards next season? Because there's no certainty that Friday night's going to look the same as it does at the moment.
It'll all be just down to what I can do time-wise. So that's just a luck of the draw. Hopefully, it's something that I enjoy racing. But Monday nights tend to be a pretty good easy night. Like, I tend to have time for that. And but as for the rest of the week, I just have to play it by ear.
All right, very nicely done, mate. Anything from Greg or Joe before we let Jeff go?
No, I'll just chime in. Because, I didn't put the mocker on you for when you do, and if you do watch the replay back. I did, however, call it a couple of laps beforehand, and we were discussing it for the whole race, really, as to how close everybody was getting to that tyre bundle, and it just happened to be that, unfortunately, Jeff, you caught it before everybody else did. So, hard luck. Best of luck for next week.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Do your maths.
Enjoy it. Yeah,
your maths,
I'll have a look.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, that's in the position you're in now. That's the best bit of advice I can give you. Do the math and play the game.
Yeah, that means I only need a fifth, and that's what I'll be aiming for.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You just got to play the game, mate. But you'll be across it, and best of luck for next week.
Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy the rest of the night.
All right, so what we'll do, Zach, we've actually got there's an update coming for iRacing tonight, so we're going to be a little bit quick getting over to the other server. So what we might do, we'll knock the mountain men wheel thing out of the park now.
Yeah, do that. Absolutely.
So,
is the update coming at 10 o'clock, is it, Joe?
I believe so, yes. So we'll
That's
probably...
at 10 o'clock Eastern time, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll be into our
8
post-race.
o'clock Western.
Yep. So on the wheel, as from last week's been the SR10, I believe, has been added. So, yeah, that's a bit of a wild machine, that one up on the mountain. But here we go. We'll click and spin and see what's up for a bit of fun tomorrow night. What do we got?
Oh,
I might have to race, I think.
The Audi GTO.
Oh,
there you go.
That's all. Got to put your big boy pants on to drive that one. So that's going to be our fun for tomorrow night. It's going to be the Audi GTO. So that server will go up sometime tomorrow morning for them guys that want to do a bit of practice. So what we'll do, we'll leave it there for now. We'll come back and catch up on some of the housekeeping after the break, so we can get over into the other server. And yeah, anything you want to lead us out with, Zach?
I will. 24-9 Adelaide leading Hawthorn at the moment. Joe 36-24 plays 1-3-9. The NRL Titans 16 leading Manly 8. 26 minutes gone there. And Australia still tail wagging at the moment. How good is this? 9 for 179. Mitchell Stark's on to 41 off 93 balls. Josh Hazelwood 8 off 24. They lead by 253. They've seen out the first hour. They've made it to drinks on the third day's play, the first session of play on the third morning of the World Test Championship final. All going smoothly for them. As you say, all the other housekeeping on the other side, we've gone around the grounds. That was a Great result for Aaron Cooper in the second race. Well done to Jeff Adams in the first. Championship points will be very interesting. Hopefully, we'll have them for you a little bit later on. In the meantime, stay with us. The platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Friday night motorsport is open wheel night. We're off to Portland. Portland gets its first broadcast race on the platforms of the GSRC on the other side of this with Greg Heaney, Joe Baldwin, and yours truly continuing to bring you Friday night motorsport. Don't go away. Platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Friday Night Motorsport continuing for you across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Newest circuit on the server as per the start of this season. It's not anymore, but it's still making its first appearance on a GSRC schedule, let alone a GSRC broadcast race. Welcome to Portland International Raceway in Oregon. Welcome to round 9 of the Spreyton Cider GSRC Road to Indy series. Zach Caven alongside Greg Heaney and Joe Baldwin as our coverage of the penultimate Friday night of the term continues. And again, it's made possible with thanks to the great people Spreyton Cider, Waste Options, Trophy AI, Orbic Australia, Bowen's the Builder's Choice, merch.tgsrci.com and Flash Graphics. That is the situation at play here. Now, none of us were in the booth last week, of course. Joe and I had separate engagements elsewhere. Dan Yeaman and Sam Stride, I'm told, did the deputising and did a very nice job of it. Actually, that reminds me, I've got a bit of housekeeping to get back to as regards to Stride, don't I? Marcus Watson leads the championship after winning last week at Road America. Adam Lavis was third last week. Second last week was Connor Nixon. He sits down 15th in the point standings at the moment. But the top three is Watson, 291, Adam Lavis, 286, Art Baz, 222, and Sam Sutton, 218. 214 for Nathan Michael, 204 rather for Nick Fodiatis, 195 for Tyson Broad, 183 for Matt Schmidtke, 177 for Dave Oliver, and Cameron Dance makes up the top 10, 153. It'll be interesting to see how well embraced this round of the championship is, gentlemen. It looks like we've got 22, 23 drivers lining up on the grid here. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, 3.13 kilometres, which is just under 2 miles. A rip and tear around here in less than a minute for the fast times at the business end of qualifying. We've got 3 minutes of that left. Marcus Watson in the 58s, if you don't mind. It's a tight, challenging, tricky, twisty little racetrack, Greg Heaney, but it's nice to have a new circuit on the server all the same. It'll be interesting to see what sort of racing it produces tonight because in some parts it's nice, wide open and flowing, but in other parts it's pretty much a one-line groove, which means that you're gonna have to keep your wits about you, and there might be a bit of risk attached or associated with executing overtaking manoeuvres unless it's on that wide open main straight.
Oh, most definitely. As you can see there with what have we got running down there? Got Art Baz doing obviously his qualifying after jumping out of the Formula V into something with a little bit more horsepower. It is obviously a drag strip down the front straight, but yeah, a sub 1 minute lap round here is certainly got some got the wriggle on and getting it around the track pretty quick. I think for the guys off the start, the trip up points are definitely going to be turn 1, and even as the race progresses, turn 1 is probably going to be it. And then, depending on how the Americans have figured it out, probably about turn 6 or 7. Going by any of the stock car races that I've seen around here, it can get rather hairy rather quickly. So I would expect at some point there's probably going to be some spare parts required after cars going through turn 1.
Portland, Oregon, the venue tonight. Joe Baldwin, always nice to have a new track on the server. I know we've got one in our own backyard that we look forward to seeing in term 3. But Portland, it's only been back on the Indycar schedule proper the last few years. Should be a good race tonight.
Yeah, look, it's actually one of the circuits. I apparently bought it last season or whenever it was released, and I've never been here. So I have no idea which way the track goes. I've never watched a race here other than the odd crash highlights, I suppose. I think, is this where Catherine Legge had a big crash years ago?
No, that was Road America.
That was
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. No, so I'm not real familiar with the place, to be perfectly honest, but we'll get acquainted with it tonight. Just looking at the outline of it there, we have a look here. That turn 1 complex looks like that's going to be a cracker. So it's I'd imagine, is it? Yeah, it looks like it's clockwise here. So
yeah, clockwise. So that's a right-hander through there, Joe. Normally with the NASCARs, when they run them around here, the exit of turn 2, which is the left immediately after it, they're all running very wide to try and get a run through the next one into the 3-cornered hairpin the 3 apex hairpin at the end there. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, turn 1 and 2 is going to be very much you have to try and open the corner as best you can, and then close it off at the second apex to be able to get the best run out of it.
All right, gentlemen. Cars lining up on the grid. There's the results from qualifying. Marcus Watson, 4-man in the championship, of course, starting from pole position, remembering that, of course, we weren't in the booth last week, but he did get the job done at Road America. Of course, he also got the job done at Donington Park, and he got the job done at Sandown. Something about Marcus Watson and winning on nights that I'm not in the booth, just quietly. So that might not be a good omen for him going into tonight. Andrew Tyson alongside him on the front row. Ryan Jones, Aidan Luthwaite, second row. Good to see Aidan back in the server. Debbie Davison and Nick Fodiatis from the third row. Dave Oliver, Adam Lavis, the fourth row. Bevan Moyes and Julian Mookie from row 5. Row 6 is Nathan Michael alongside Jack O'Donnell. Row 7, Matt Schmidtke, Connor Nixon. Row 8, David Baz, Eduardo Zamora. Row 9, Phil Otto and Art Baz. Row 10, Aidan Carl and Craig Bond. He's back on the grid. Row 11, Sean Campbell and Mark Hilly. Row 12, Ben Woods and Martin Davis. Now, Cale, Bond, Campbell, Hilly, Woods, Davis haven't set a time in qualifying there. We wait and see what that means as far as the race is concerned. 3 o'clock server time. Can we bring that totem pole on the right-hand side of the screen back up there, Joe? The track and server settings, conditions. 3 o'clock server time, 8 km/h winds in a mostly southwesterly direction, 20 southwesterly, I should say, 24 degrees the ambient. 43 on track, 35% humidity, partly cloudy conditions. At what point do we see some rain tyres applied to an IndyCar Series race? I'd like to see that on the iRacing server. We have seen the odd wet weather race in the past.
There were whispers that the IndyCar was going to get wet weather tyres in this update. I don't know if that actually came to fruition, but oh God, I hope so. And I would love to see it rain today. I don't know if it's going to, but if it has the ability to, I would like to see it. Just for something new. Rain's never something that we've had to deal with IndyCar, and I just think it would be, make them earn it. Make the guys earn it. Why not?
Your tip, quick.
Don't worry, Joe. A car with similar power now has wet tyres.
Yes, we're coming to that, Greg Heaney. We're coming to that, and looking forward to it immensely. Your tip, quick.
I wouldn't put it past one of the Orbit boys here. Yes, Aidan did drive for me, but if he's on song, I know he's been out of the car for a little while because I think he was moving house, but I wouldn't put it past him if he can keep it clean. He'll certainly take it to Marcus, I reckon.
Marcus Watson has control of the field as they head down the main straight in Portland, Oregon. The continuation of our West Coast doubleheader open wheel night front of our motorsport platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. They go to work and Watson converts beautifully off the line. Andrew Dyson and Ryan Jones on the run of turn 1. Dyson forcing the issue around the outside. Dyson wants to lead this thing and will lead this thing out of turn 2. Dyson leads Watson, and Watson immediately looking to fight back on the inside. Couldn't do it, had to yield, tucked back in. Andrew Dyson fires the first shot in Oregon. The maiden race at this circuit on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and Dyson, who's been impressive throughout the week in the Porsches, in the GT4s, in the supercars, leads in the open wheelers.
And I think Julian Mookie and maybe Nathan Michael might have got tangled up in turn 1.
So easy to occur as well on this circuit. Yeah. Nathan Michael on the tow rope. No start for Martin Davis, Mark Hilly, Ben Woods or Sean Campbell.
So that's preceding it.
Oh. What the hell's happened there?
They both had incident earlier, though. What's happened here? Oh
no.
Nathan's unfortunately looped it on power.
Oh, so
that's a cold tyre incident, that, and a little bit too much power on, I think, which would have most likely potentially broken some steering.
And that's certainly what happens when you arrive yourself at the scene of the accident when they got down a couple of corners later. That's unfortunate.
Oh, Bevan Moyes off the road at the moment, 2 boys dropping outside the top 10. We've also got Julian Mookie on pit lane. Nathan Michael's parked up and retired already. So he's done. Look at Dyson under pressure from Watson. Jones is there as well. Geez, Ryan Jones has been impressive this week since arriving on scene in the GSRC. Dyson leads, Watson second, Jones third, Luthwaite lurking in fourth. Just the one change at the top end of town in the top 8. That is first and second. And then David Baz up 6 spots already to 9th. Jackson Dial 10th. Matt Schmidtke 11th. And Aiden Kale already on the charge up 7 spots to 12th. But you got to be in it to win it. And anybody can win it here at Portland International Raceway, because if you get your strategy right, boys, and you're there when the competition caution arrives at the pointy end of the stick, game back on. As I said in the opener, have a look at how tight that real estate is, folks. It's in these cars pretty much single file around the back of the circuit. You've got to make your moves on the main straight. Everywhere else there's a bit of risk assessment attached to it. But right now, Marcus Watson probably not where he wants to be, but at least there is the benefit of potentially saving a few millilitres of juice here and there.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm just looking at this track thinking I reckon the supercars would go around here pretty well.
I think
don't
you're
give
right.
Oh, you mean supercars in the virtual world? Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, no. But if we put the real world cars over here, the Americans would think, what on earth are you guys doing? No, the virtual ones for sure.
Yeah. Don't give them any ideas. They've been talking about international expansion unsuccessfully for 15 years.
I picked that up on the last lap. Sorry, guys. When we come around the next lap, I'm going to go on board with Marcus Watson, and his line at turn 1 is worth a tenth or more over Andrew. He's just got nowhere to go. I don't know. He's not picking up off tracks either. So it's obviously a part of the track there that Andrew Dyson doesn't realise that you can use, and Marcus has. He's right up over the curb on the inside at turn 1, just straighten his run to the sharp left-hand part of that chicane. So very, very clever use of track limits by Marcus Watson. So that'll be something to keep an eye on, whether or not he can pounce on Andrew at some stage in the race if he gets a good run. Such a short lap around here. I love it. It's great.
I reckon you'll find that ripple strip that he's utilising is probably right up against the fence.
Yes.
What's his line? What's his line? Look at this. Oh, he didn't use as much of it that lap.
No. Have a look at the onboard shot as well.
Somebody overshot the...
that was Ryan Jones. That was Ryan Jones. He's paid the price to slow down accordingly. Yeah, that puts him out of contention for the moment, but he's keeping Dyson and Watson honest. He's got to be worried. He's got to be mindful now, at least, of Aiden Lutwaite.
Or slow down.
Only Bevan Moyes on the alternate rubber at the moment too now as well, boys. As Lutwaite goes by, Davison will look to go and capitalise on this as well. Won't be able to. Bevan Moyes only on the alternate rubber, with the exception of actually Julian Mookie with that unscheduled pit stop. He's on the alternate rubber as well. He's a lap down. He'll get that back during the competition caution, barring any further trouble. Lap 5 of 55. So there's the confirmation that it is 55 laps tonight, or an hour and 5 minutes, whichever comes first. I think given the pace in which we're running at the moment, which is a minute or thereabouts per lap, only 2 laps sub 1 minute so far. 59.751 for Andrew Dyson, 59.944 for Marcus Watson. I think we're safe, even with the caution, with 55 laps the distance here. And we started a couple of minutes early tonight, you may have noticed too, ladies and gentlemen. There is a reason for that. We're racing towards 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and another patch update on the back of the big content drop on Tuesday night from the powers that be with iRacing. So we're going to get punted from the server here at 10 o'clock Eastern, which means Joe will have to save and load a replay file in order to be able to file some footage your way during the post-race show, I would imagine. I'm sure that's how it works.
He will.
6 minutes gone. Lap 6, Andrew Dyson controls it. Marcus Watson second, Ryan Jones is fourth. Just having a look at some of the big movers and shakers so far. David Baz up 6 spots. Aiden Cale up 8 spots. And Craig Bond already up 4 spots as well. No one else doing anything really noteworthy at this point. What surprises me, though, boys, 4 non-starters. Campbell, Hilly, Woods and Davis. I'm just having a look. Race controllers Scott Jordison and Richard King, so that doesn't explain any of that.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised as well that Mark and particularly Ben Woods didn't jump in the car. And the one we are missing notably is I see him. Nick Fodiatis is up there. He's in 6th position. I honestly thought I'd overlooked him completely. So my mistake on that one. I thought he was missing. So No, it was, I'm surprised the guys that haven't started this race, particularly for some of those names, didn't jump in. So I know there has been a few network issues post major update. They've been having some problems with that from certain drivers, as we see Julian Mookie in the pit lane.
So that's the second trip to pit lane for Julian. So clearly still something not quite right with that car.
Trades into the tequila, boys.
Yes. Good luck. Rather you than me. I think you're in the wrong part of the world for that. Aren't we supposed to be in Mexico?
As long as he's got the salt and the lime, he'll be fine.
That is the point, actually. That Mexican Grand Prix circuit for Formula One, surely it comes to iRacing in the next short while now that NASCAR is going there as well. We know the tight close links and ties between iRacing and NASCAR. Surely the iRacing powers that be are in Mexico this weekend scanning that real estate. And if they're not, it's an opportunity missed as far as I'm concerned. Now, because it's a great racetrack and there's so many different configurations around there as well. They're using a different one to the Grand Prix this weekend for the NASCAR. They've got obviously their Formula E configuration of the circuit as well. So much you can do around there. Hopefully they scan that, because I reckon that'd be like it was with Champ Car and Formula One, a great circuit to put the IndyCar series on as well. Nick Fodiatis gave me some intel earlier, boys. 13 laps per tank, 15 if you're good, 15 if you know how to play the game when it comes to stretching the fuel tank. So 13, 26 and 39, 52. Boom, right? But if you can exercise a little bit of discretion there and eke it out to 14, 28, 42, ding, 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 3-stop race. I get the feeling, though, that whether it is a 3 or 4 stop will be very much dictated by where that competition caution falls.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, this first stanza of the race is pretty much race to the caution. And potentially save a little bit of fuel just to mitigate your...
Dave! Oh!
Bang! Into the wall goes David Baz. A passenger once he arrived on the grass. That is so unlucky for him. And he will go straight down the pit road, you would imagine. Oh, yeah, look at the wheel.
That was very much broken. The lucky part for him was it was relatively close to the pit lane, unfortunately.
He just outbraked himself and... I think that is going to be like the wall of fame at this track. Just looking at the layout.
I reckon he was going for the Scotty Mac or SVG line. If you watch back some of the stock car racing around here, the guys on those two corners particularly would use a lot more of the grass. Like you can see the guys here are using as much of that that exit road as they can. The stock cars there use that and then some to get it through that section of the track. So
like the last two corners at Winton, you sort of go out and you use entry off to the pits to widen your line out for the last little bit.
Yeah, except at Winton you've got a little bit of the curbing at Winton is almost like a gutter instead of what they've got here, which is relatively flat. But yeah, the stock cars here, when they run them in real life, would almost use up all of a chunk of the grass on the way through the next corner. Obviously, with Indycar here, a lot lower to the ground, a lot more horsepower on tap relatively quickly. Probably not so much a good idea to decide to drop a tyre in the grass.
And we all know how liberal NASCAR can be with track limits. COTA, anybody?
Sonoma, anybody?
Sonoma, anybody?
Watkins Glen?
Yes.
Anybody?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Track limit, yes.
Track suggestion. They're a theory in NASCAR.
Oh, they're guidelines, Joe. Guidelines.
Guidelines, that's it. Very, very wide ones, apparently. Up the front here, young Marcus and Andrew Dyson, they're putting on a hell of a show.
They're having a great scrap.
Yeah. So, good, clean racing. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, Marcus is in a position where we all know how good Andrew is, but he hasn't done all the rounds. So I think Andrew's only done 4 of the rounds so far and DNF'd one of those. So it's he doesn't need to beat him. He needs to be smart. He can sit exactly where he is, and it'll solidify his position for the final round going into Indy next week, which, you know, I mean, look, we all know what Indy can be like. Indy can be such a crapshoot. You can get to turn 3 on the last lap and dominate, and a bit of drafting, not even a bad decision, but a bad decision by somebody else, and you get in their wake, bang, you're in the wall, race done, there goes your championship. So you've got to be smart and just finish this race as best you can. Like we were saying with Jeff in the last one, you don't get to round 9 and throw it away trying to win the race when you're this close to banking a championship for yourself. And as Craig, obviously, Mini Wolf, anyone out there looking, that's actually Craig's, that's Marcus's dad, that's Craig Watson. So he's probably given the lad a bit of a rub behind the ear hole and said, play it smart, play it safe.
That's it.
And look, Marcus, he had how would I put it? An error of judgment, and he had to drop a week. So he's had not only he got a bit loose coming onto the straight. Jeez. So he is trying very loose. Ooh. So he's in a position at the moment where he's come in 5 points up. And
Danny Davis in the pit lane, Joe. Danny Davis in the pit lane. Go for it.
Danny's off to the pit lane. He is too. He's in a position where he's got himself back into championship contention, even after dropping an extra round. So his fight back, he's done exceptionally well. So yeah, if he does bag this championship, which it certainly looks like he's going to at the rate he's going, he will have earned it perfectly well. Looks like Dave Baz has had an incident out on track again. See, nope, his pizza's arrived.
Yep, he has pulled up. He has parked up. David Baz is done. That is unfortunate.
I reckon old man Stroll called about his car.
Julian Mookie also back on pit road as well. He's had enough. That's three retirements.
His Uber Eats pulled up at the same time.
Andrew Dyson, Marcus Watson, Aiden Luthwaite, Ryan Jones, Dave Oliver, 14 the critical lap. We mentioned it, didn't we? And who are the good ones? Well, in terms of stretching their fuel tank, they're Adam Lavis and Nick Fodiatis. Surprise, surprise, they're Aiden Cale, Jackson Dial and Connor Nixon, all notorious with the fuel save strat. Dave Oliver will be in there as well. Actually, no, Dave Oliver's on the pit road. You're right, though, Greg. Yes. Matt Schmidtke's there too. So something about Aussie races and all but drop there and just eking a little bit more distance out of the fuel tank.
Yeah, I reckon being there, obviously running on a circuit as opposed to an oval, they can run it at a slightly lower fuel map, and if they're close enough, you'll still be able to get a tow from the guys in front and eke that little bit of extra distance out of the car.
So far, so good.
The top 6 currently haven't been to the pit. So Nick is into the pits now. Aiden Cale, what's he doing? Yeah, he's in the pits.
They're all on pit road this time by, you would imagine, Joe. The numbers were 13 to 15. Connor's going again. Wow. And he'll be the only one, unless Matt Schmidtke decides to go as well. Does Connor know something that we don't? Connor's buying track position here.
Yeah, Matt's going again as well.
Yeah, interesting. I'm not sure if the fuel strat works in the first half of the race. Certainly there are benefits and perks to it in the second half of the race. I'm not sure there's much reward, many dividends in it in the first half, considering that the field comes back to you as soon as that competition caution is deployed. What's not known is how much this buys them in the way of track position. You would argue with Matt Schmidtke being 7 seconds behind Connor already, that there won't be too much in the way of reward there. I was surprised that Dave Oliver didn't go with them. Actually, he went with the majority on lap 14. And Andrew Dyson. Oh, Andrew Dyson's back on pit road. What do we know about that? Andrew Dyson is back on pit road. He was second. He was with Marcus Watson. He was actually leading the race when they came to pit lane. Connor Nixon comes to pit lane now. Dyson goes out again. He is sitting there after 16 seconds on pit road.
Did he forget to check his fuel?
Possibly. Can you believe that? That is a lapse in judgment, a potential 1%er that has been very costly.
He didn't take tyres.
Even then, a 16-second stop doesn't add up, boys, because everybody else was 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, I'm thinking these cars are very particular, and same with the stock cars as well. They're very particular with how you pull them up in the box, because obviously we can't see it here, but the guys in the sim, they'll actually be able to see their own pit crew. I've fallen foul once or twice to being in that pit box being too far one way, because you've got to pull the car up between the guys that are standing there in the sim waiting for you to arrive in your pit box. Looking at the way that he'd pulled up in his pit stall, he was on a bit of an angle, so they've got to then shift the car around or the crew technically needs to shift their equipment around and the kit they've got with them, which would slow the pit stop. Similarly to if in the real world, if the Formula One drivers overshoot their marks, or even in the supercars, you overshoot the marks, everyone's got to shift. So I reckon there could have been a little bit of that at play there, but on the early pit stop, it looks to be that Aiden managed to jump Ryan, so there is a little bit of gamesmanship at play there.
He is the big winner in all of that, Greg. He's up 2 spots now at the expense of Andrew Dyson, and also having pipped Ryan Jones. He's up 2. He's now only a second away from Marcus Watson. Now, what we don't know is how much these guys have burned in way of push to pass. Watson 2 seconds, Luthwaite none yet. So Luthwaite's got all 200 seconds up his sleeve, ready to have a real crack later in the race. Anybody else? Yeah, Nathan Michael, well, he's out, so that doesn't matter. Julian Mookie burnt a fair chunk of his push to pass before parking up. Wow-wee.
Just quietly.
Matt Schmidt hasn't touched it, nor to Art Baz, nor to Craig Bond.
I'm looking
Adam
forward
Davis
to
or
this.
Dave Oliver.
Mr. Friday is back in with us here, Aiden Luthwaite.
I know.
And the young fella who's been the protagonist this season, Marcus Watson, Aiden's right there with him. Like, you know, it just shows he hasn't lost his touch. Oh, 3-point penalty for contact with car 39.
Nathan Michael, and to be fair, had to see that one coming, because he was in no man's land. He's come back onto the track flying blind, unfortunately. Not blind whiskey drunk, but still flying blind.
Stevie Wonder could have seen that penalty coming down the pike.
No, I'll cover the spicy water off for him.
Copy. Appreciate that.
Well, I mean, we've got Marcus's dad drinking tequila in some form of spicy water, so I'll join him with an amber colored spicy water instead.
Yes. Need to have a look around too, gentlemen, with regards to the surroundings of the Portland International Raceway, just quietly. Great crowd on hand of the human variety. There's Aiden Cale going up into P5. There's the other guy I want to watch, actually. I'm going to come back to the point to cover off just to appease Stridey in a moment. That's a great charge so far from Aiden Cale. In his first stint, he's up 14 spots. He's on the same strat as those that stopped on lap 15. We haven't hit the competition caution yet. It's lap 20 of 55, and he is 5th. We know what this guy brings to the table when he's on the grid in GT4. We know what he's capable of when he lines up elsewhere. Whatever he, a bit similar to Aiden Luthwaite, whatever he plies his trade he's competitive. Caution. There it is. Lap 20 is your bingo number, ladies and gentlemen, and that changes everything. That changes everything. Wowee. Because there's no way that anyone that stops now gets home on 2 stops. It's 35 laps from here. So if you stop now, you're stopping twice more. If you don't stop now, you're probably still only stopping twice more, but you're doing it later in the race. This is an interesting one. Do you want to go for the 3 stop or the 4 stop? Because the fact that you can save some fuel here means that you can extend this second run out, but the chance is there to go and get fresh rubber. I don't know exactly how I'd play this one, boys, because really, I don't see the merit in stopping right now if you're going to have to still stop twice more. If it's 14, 15 laps per run, right, there's no way, right, 34, 14, 15, you got change, right? You got 5, 6 laps left over, 4 to 5, 4 to 6, right? So I don't know whether you stay out, you just sit there and you wait, you bide your time, you wait for your moment, and still only stop twice more on the way home because the fuel you save now will stretch out and balance the books, right? It'll cover off the difference.
Yeah, you're 7 laps into a stint though.
And that's the other thing.
Yeah, under green flag, taking an extra 7 laps worth of fuel is going to cost you track position. Now, I think if the lion's share are probably going to go in. The guys that stopped on lap 15 or Connor who stopped on 16, they may get away with it, but I doubt it. It's one of those things. It's a free pit stop. Anytime there's a yellow flag like this, it's always a free pit stop, right? Yeah, and it opens up your strategy for the end of the race.
Yes, true, but you've also and keep in mind they've also got they do have the compulsory compound change as well. So
yes.
Oh, hang on, cheap trap.
My game's with the boys.
Oh no.
Now
We've got a couple going for it.
This is poker, right? This is absolute poker because the likes of Dave Oliver, Adam Maverick, Bevan Moyes, Bondi, Art Baz, Schmidtke, Zamora, those guys never had track position. So absolutely they've done the right thing. Get in, put the fuel in. So when everybody, when the next pit cycle goes, they got 7 laps better off time-wise for putting the fuel in. And it doesn't necessarily mean at the next stop. It can also mean at the second stop before. But they will be carrying 7 laps more of fuel to get them through to the end of the race, which is going to equate to track position.
We've got 2
Dyson's
distinct...
crash? What?
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Dyson's night is done, you would think. If that's the case, he's on pit road for the 3rd time now. Dyson, his charge is at an end. Oh,
there doesn't
boy.
seem to be any damage on the car. I think he's just...
He's run out of fuel, hasn't he?
I was going to say, he's run out of juice.
Again.
Something's going on with his pit stops because he...
That's his 3rd stop now, Joe.
Yeah, but he's towed.
Yeah, because he's obviously not had the momentum to carry him round the last corner into the pit lane and actually make the box. So he's had to tow. He doesn't have a choice.
Now, can we just get a look at the safety car, please, Joe?
Absolutely, we can. Oh, that lights out.
The lights are out. Yes, I think you're right. Lights are out, which means green this time by, which means that's a very quick caution if that's the case. We've only had a 2-lap caution. Right, and that changes the game again as well. Because will that 2 laps be enough? You would imagine so. As I said earlier, 14, 28, 42, 56, you're home, right? And if you've only saved a lap's worth of juice here, it means 29 or 30. It means 43 or 44 or 45, depending upon how you want to play it. All right, so it's a 3-stopper. It is literally a 3-stopper for all those guys that are showing 1, which is 1st through 8, and they are taking that risk that we were talking about, boys. They're going to go with regards to the fuel, with regards to the tyres. In comes the safety car. It's going to be very interesting. The games are going to be played here by the guys that are behind them on the full tank with the better rubber. Marcus Watson has control of the field. Let's wait and see as we come back to green. It's like a flock, isn't it? It's a bit prehistoric. There we go. Off we go. Racing now. Good start. Clean restart. Watson got the jump. Have a look down the outside by Ryan Jones. He leads Aidan Luke right. Straight through the chicane. Goes Jack O'Dyle.
Wow, he was under pressure from Ryan Jones then. The cold tyres absolutely are a thing. You can tell by the guys that didn't make the corner. But Aidan under immense pressure there from Ryan Jones, who's obviously a bit of a hot chew. I'm not really across much of his work. I know he's new to the club, but to be pressuring Mr. Friday like he is, and that little exchange at turn 1's allowed Marcus to skip out a little bit. So this is certainly working in young Watson's favour.
And Aidan Cale's chances have completely and utterly evaporated. He was the one that bowled it wide at turn 1, Joe. He paid the price with a lengthy slowdown invoice. Down the main straight we go. Lap 24 underway. 32 laps to go. This is what happened.
Oh, huge slowdown there. That's, yeah. Him and his teammate, I think Jackson Dial were the two that had that little error. Oh, Jackson, good.
Yeah, I was going to say credit to Aiden Cale there. He's actually jumped off the racing service to allow the field to go past whilst serving the slowdown. So.
Off goes Jacko Dial. Off goes Dial, and that will be him done. Andrew Dyson's back out there, but he's a lap down, so he's out of contention. Forget about that. This is now Marcus Watson's to lose. He's put 2.3 on the field on that opening lap. Aiden Lutzwaite's 0.6 behind Ryan Jones. That was a great lunge down the outside from him.
Cold tyres for Dial.
Yeah, out in the weeds.
Yep.
And that's a second lap of the stint, and still cold tyres. Extraordinary. Julian Mookie out of business, Nathan Michael out of business, David Baz out of business. No, Jones has got around Lutzwaite. Jones got around Lutzwaite, not Watson.
Yes,
yeah. He did that at the restart, Joe. I'm pretty sure we covered that off at the restart.
He was behind him at the restart. He's gotten around him in the last lap.
He got around him at turn one. Turn one of the restart, he got around him. We called that. I'm pretty sure we called that. Oh, Aiden Cale's night is done.
Call the ambulance.
That one will not be going any further. Dave Oliver also is showing on pit road as well. So he's now out of sequence with everybody else. Oh boy, it's all happening here. Ryan Jones.
So this is how.
So
Jones
this was the
got
restart.
No, this was. It was a Luthwaite.
Yeah,
that was the restart.
It was too. No,
that's not the restart.
No, that's not the restart.
That's a couple laps after the restart.
I thought that was the restart. I thought he got him on the restart and then Luthwaite got him back.
No, that was side by side on the restart. He got him after it, and that was a fantastic move.
That was.
That's a great, absolutely, to do it on the outside like that. To put him on the inside. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're on the outside for one, you can hang tough and put it on the inside for two.
Well, Ryan's now back under pressure here. Aiden's obviously closing that gap up a little bit. Knowing Aiden, he probably wouldn't have taken to that very lightly in terms of the enjoyment factor. So he'll probably have a little bit of head of steam up to want to get that position back. So
we'll have another look at that one. We'll go on board with Ryan. There's a mega move. He's a long way back.
Yeah.
And he's on the button too.
On the button?
Oh.
Yep.
Left him room.
And I reckon the previous lap around he had a crack on the outside and then it didn't work, and that's why he's had to reset and go again, and he tried it on the inside and actually made it stick, but there was mega commitment required to get it done. I'm sure I called them side by side off the restart to turn one, and Jones was having a lunch, but our attention very quickly, unfortunately, turned to Aiden Cale and Jacko Dial being off the road. And there it is again. The over and under again, Joe. That time by it's Lutzwaite that wins out. But the problem is they're only hurting themselves now, boys.
Yeah,
Look at the margin for Marcus Watson. It's 3.5 seconds, for goodness sake. Wow-wee.
Out of there.
Just give him the championship now.
There's your gap. Adam's on the end of that train.
So I would expect this leading bunch of cars to be in the pit lane within the next lap or two.
Yes.
Because remember, they didn't take...
they didn't pit, that's right.
They didn't take the pit at the caution, so I would expect they'll all be in the pit lane in the next lap or two.
Yeah, for sure.
Ryan's on the button again.
I would say, yeah, if you don't go 28 and you don't go 29, you're definitely going 30. Connor Nixon and Nick Fodiatis are the only two that could probably stretch that out a little bit further. Denny Davison's on the rope. He will have to come in surely this time by. He went 13 first time round and opted to stay out. Jacko Dial playing catch-up from down in the order because he was down in 13th after that mistake, and he's the only other one on that same strat of not stopping under the caution. And and Nick Fodiatis will have absolutely loved that. He will have absolutely loved where that caution fell because he loves it when it's a strat race. And we've got a definitive strat race tonight. Two totally different strats at play. Those that are going 3-stop, those that are going 4-stop. That's what we love to see. At the moment, it's in favour of the 3-stoppers. Called it, Danny Davison on pit road.
So Marcus, Aiden, and them guys are all going for another lap. Connor Nixon just got around Nick Fodiatis. He's up in a 4th, so he's top lap 16, so he's still a couple of laps better off on fuel than the guys he's racing around. Nick stopped on 15, so Connor was, he was the one who went further than anybody else on that first stint. So be interesting to see. So he's 1.5 behind Ryan at the moment. It'll be interesting to see whether or not that relates, the 2 laps worth of fuel gives him any track position when these guys come in and pit in a minute. But Connor's up 10 spots from where he started. Bondi, young Bondi, he's up 12 from his start position. Art Baz.
He's the biggest mover of the night.
He is.
Bondi's the biggest mover of the night at the moment. Yeah. Art Baz up 9, as to say, but now we've got pit lane activity. Watson, Ruthwaite, Jones, Nixon, all on pit road. Surprise, surprise. Nick Fodiatis plays on. Adam Lavis, the best placed of those on the 2 stops so far, with another 2 to come. But Nick Fodiatis continuing on for at least another lap. He's Marcus 15th of the stint, and that will work beautifully for him.
He's on the Reds.
Yeah, in fact, they're all going to the Reds, Joe, with the exception of Jacko Dial. Although I'll wait and see because he's only just started his pit stop. No, he's going to the alternates now, which makes sense because that's 2 stints on the primary tyre done for them. Look at that invoice for Jacko Dial, though. That mistake has cost him so dearly.
It has.
Andrew Dyson still showing a lap down. That's the disappointing story of the night for mine, though, Greg. Ruthwaite Nixon. Sorry, boys. Ruthwaite Nixon lining up the off-track alerts. There goes Aiden Ruthwaite. His charge is done, and so too is Connor Nixon's, and so too is Jackson. Oh, Jackson Dials got off in sympathy with him as well, but it was a totally isolated incident in Dials' case. Cold tyres has tripped them all up on lap 29, lap 30 here at Portland, Oregon. And Ryan Jones limping off pit road too.
Oh.
They're catching they're trying to bite off too much of that curve on cold tyres.
Mavs in the pits.
Yep, he's completed his 3rd stop in 5.6, Joe. He's out again, lap 31. And that's the thing, flexibility for those guys, because they know that whatever happens, they're stopping twice. Adam can definitively, comfortably stop somewhere lap 42, 43, 44, and get home. This is what happened to Aiden Luthwaite. What happened to Connor Nixon at the same time?
Yeah, he's just unfortunately caught a little bit of not quite enough brakes, not quite enough heat in the tyres, and it's just bit on him, and he's had to back out of it.
So you look here, he got the curb, he come down, just he turns in here, the rear gets away, that's it. The rear got away on the cold tyres, and your history.
All three all but dropped their entries out of business with that moment. What happened to Connor? Did we see that? Because he's on the tow rope as well, and he lit up an off-track alert at very eerily the same time. It'll be the same thing without doubt.
The same corner by the look of it. I bet she's done the same thing. Yeah. Oh, a little bit bigger.
Worse. Bang. And once you're on that grass, you are a passenger. You're not pulling it up. There's 2 examples of that. Where's
Marcus back
I'm
here.
just having a look around here. Have a look at Bondi. Bondi is up to 18 spots. Bondi's up to 2nd.
And he pitted on that thing, and he's about to lead.
Fodiatis is in. He's about to lead the race. Nick Fodiatis is on pit road to cleanse the field. And Craig Bond is going to lead the field. But Art Basil have something to say about that. Bondi leads at Portland. Can you believe this motor race? Have a look at this. Bondi leads from the rear of the field. He started 20th. He's got Art Baz for company, who started 17th. He's got Bevan Moyes, Eduardo Zamora, Matt Schmidtke, all there. But we know that these guys are stopping 3rd time, 4th time. It'll balance out in favour of the guys that are on the 3-stop strategy, I would imagine. But Nick Fodiatis has still managed to come out in behind Adam Lavis, in behind Marcus Watson. So on corrected order, I think I'm right in saying, boys, that Nick Fodiatis is going to be second. Third here. Mav is second, but despite the fact that he's done 3 stops.
And
so
Nick's
Adam
also
Lavis
stopped
has
2
made
laps
that work.
later. So Nick's still 2 laps better off than anybody else. Is Danny Davison? Oh, he's getting very close under the back there.
I got him. Yep. Nick didn't even want to borrow that. He just let Danny straight through.
Yep. Stephen Bradbury of the GSRC. He certainly is.
Yeah, don't mention it too loud. Bondi will... honestly, I reckon Bondi's going to have a smile from ear to ear under that helmet. And mind you, but Art is going to give him all of the hurry up that he can muster to try and get past him, though.
Problem is, these guys are out of... Oh, there it is. Gone. Off the road. He caught it, but Baz goes through. Pressure. It's a funny thing. And Royce is there as well. But we know the problem is that these guys are only 12 seconds up the road from Marcus Watson, who has only 1 stop to go. These guys have all got 2 stops to go, but they're going to love the fact that they're in the limelight for the moment, leading the car race.
Oh,
37 and 3/4 minutes gone, Greg. Rapid rate, rapid pace in which we're running this at the moment. And look, yeah, Jack O'Donnell's right. Look at the car park. Look at the car park. Dial, Nixon, Luthwaite, gone.
Oh, Nixon.
Orbit drop there, Aiden Kale, gone. Orbit Drop Bear had 4 horses in this race, and they're all on pit road.
Jackson's at the
show and shine. Yes, definitely show and shine. You got to put the cars back together first before you take them to the show and shine, though.
Unbelievable. Speaking of unbelievable, boys, the Aussies are still in. Josh Hazelwood is on to 17. Mitchell Stark is on 53. Australia are 9 for 202. South Africa are trailing by 276. It's as good as game over as far as I'm concerned. The bowlers are giving themselves more to work with here, and then they've got to then turn around and very quickly come in off the long run with the new Duke red ball in that second innings. But hopefully, now that we've got to 9:24, whatever happens next, if a wicket falls now, great. If not, they'll play an extra half hour, and then they'll get a 40-minute recoup, because they'll get the lunch break. So if the South Africans don't get them out in the next 6 minutes, an extra half hour, wide. So Bondi into pit lane, Bevan Moyes goes with him. Art Baz continues on. This is lap 15 of the stint for Art Baz and Matt Schwitke as well. And Marcus Watson's going to come through as corrected order third, but he'll be the effective race leader, Greg.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on Bondi's pit lane.
Oh, Bondi missed his box. Bondi missed his box.
I'm going to keep an eye on that time.
Pit road.
Well, I was going to say, because I watched him come into the pit lane on his first stop as well. He came on his first green flag stop. He was ridiculously hot coming in and locked up the front, so crossing the line. And it looks like Bondi had his nose in front there too, but he's obviously chalked it up coming off the line. But yeah, Bondi on his first green flag locked the tyres up coming across the line. He did it again on that one as well, so he's going to have to be careful, because if he catches it too much or just slightly too late, he's going to trip the hey, you've gone a little bit too fast. Have a break, mate, as he comes into the pit lane.
Here comes Baz Schmidtke. He's off to do another tour of the circuit.
Another lap. For the second time tonight, he's stretching it longer than anybody else in this stint.
Marks would want to be careful. Daylight's running a very close second.
Correct. Yes. That joke is applicable anywhere except Queensland. Matt Schmidtke, Marcus Watson, 12 seconds down the road to Nick Fodiatis. But this is the point. Joe's right, Greg. You know, how often do you see it that if you're leading and you know you've got no pressure on, you lose concentration for a moment and you trip yourself up. It can be very easy to get a little bit despondent, a little bit complacent, a little bit whatever the appropriate word is to put in there. It can be very tempting to switch off and ease off the accelerator and just go through the motions at 85%, and that can sometimes be the undoing.
Well, yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, so if you're looking at, say, like Matt or Ryan or Marcus here, so,
yeah,
as you say,
by the way, gentlemen.
I reckon
And the other point too, Danny Davison's been on pit road for 1:40, and that doesn't add up for me either. So Danny Davison's another contender that's out of business here. We're down to 12 on the track, gentlemen. 12. The attrition rate is through the bloody roof tonight. Go on, Greg.
I was going to say, as Joe had mentioned, that yes, daylight is coming up closely behind Marcus, but as you say, then in term with that, it probably depends on which century you're talking about at Queensland. But no, when you're out in front and you've got that much of a gap, it is very easy to to get complacent and just not so much fall into a groove that you want to be in. You just end up out of that. And as we can see, it looks like Marcus is closing that gap to Matt very rapidly. I reckon Matt's running this on a slightly leaner fuel map to stretch that tank as far as he could possibly get it to try and get the best out of those soft tyres or the alternate tyres that he's got, and trying to make it to at least, I mean, looking at it now, they're coming up there on lap 39, coming around to start lap 40. If they get a 14 to 15 lap stint out of these cars, I reckon these guys are trying to go to only one more stop from here. So I reckon that'll probably be
18 laps at the moment for Mr. Schmidtke. Thank you very much.
That's ridiculous.
He's definitely running that on a leaner fuel map, as it looks like he's slowing there to let Marcus through. So
Watson retakes the lead. Schmidtke will be in pit lane this time by, I would say. Aiden Carl came out of the lane, did the same as Aiden Luthwaite. In comes Schmidtke.
He's in. I was going to say earlier on, I think what happened when you run around here on the prime tyre, and they're hot and they're sticky and you wear them out, and then you go into the pits, and in your brain you're like, oh, I'm putting on the reds and these things are going to be really, really good. But remember, I've just had a huge update and the tyres take a couple of laps to come up to temperature, and I think that is what is tripping people up tonight, is the new tyre update. And I know they reckon the GT3s are brutal. They're 3 laps to get the tyres up to temperature now since the new update came out the other day. And I think that this is what's tripping these guys out. Generally, as it was before, you would come out of the pits and you could almost go full knackers on the red tyre, and you just can't do it since the update now. And obviously Marcus got it sorted out, Nick sorted it out, Ryan, Mav, but when you look back, the OBDM guys, they had their own car park out there and they were all on red tyres. Every one of them killed themselves on reds.
Yep. Defining moments here.
Right, Aiden. Cool.
We'll mark that in the Joe got it right box tonight.
And it's very rare. It's very rare when you see such a formidable force like ODBM or the drop air motor.
Hold on to it, Marcus. It was getting a little bit sideways.
Absolutely. Those guys have been in a league of their own in many respects throughout the course of this season. I mean, the supercars, the GT4s, the GT3s, they ply their trade in the Porsches as well. They're better cut above. They're one of the form teams. For them to have an off night like that, where every single one of them ends up on pit road, ends up tripped up and in retirement, it is a rare occurrence. You won't see that too often. It'll be one of those where were you when moments, unfortunately.
I think,
and we'll wait and see them come back in force, out in force next week and seeking some sort of redemption at the Brickyard.
Tell you what, you don't think young Marcus is having a crack, do you? He's driving around here like a bloody Rotax go-kart. He's getting the slide on. He's doing a damn good job. So whatever has happened with the update in this car, it's obviously suiting him, because the kid's driving the wheels off it. Like, I'll tip my hat to you, Marcus. Great drive. That just, of any of the guys that we've been on board tonight, like, I mean, you watch Nick. Nick's a very measured. He keeps the car very straight. He doesn't like to live on the edge, and that's why he's nearly 14 seconds behind Marcus at the moment. But mega drive by Nick. He's kept it on the island. He's kept it straight. You look at him through here.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it loose. He doesn't get it wild. Very gentle with the throttle application. Yeah, it's
And
just...
he's not on the button down the straight, which I had noticed on that onboard when we jumped over to Marcus.
Yep.
Marcus is on the button. But somebody you'd think he's going for another fastest lap. I mean, he's already got the fastest lap at 59,666.
No. Andrew Dyson has the fastest lap.
Sorry, Andrew Dyson's
59,496. Yeah.
59.4.
So Watson will want it, but it's just a matter of whether he can get it or not.
Yeah.
Let's go around the grounds quickly. Australia have been bowled out. It's lunch at Lords. Australia have been bowled out. Mitchell Stark remains not out, 58. Hazelwood out for 17. Australia 207 all out. They have set South Africa a target of 282 to win the World Test Championship. Adelaide 4:10.34 lead Hawthorn 4:7.31. No one took their kicking boots to Hobart or Launceston, actually, as it is. And the Australian Swimming Championships continuing, and the NRL is continuing. The Titans lead the Eagles 22-8 at the moment. Marcus Watson, Nick Vodiatis, pit lane, critical lap 43 of 55. We start lap 44 as those guys head on to the main straight. Ryan Jones also on pit road. Top three in their last pit stop. Andrew Dyson also back in as well, and he's a lap down, so it's very much a case of what might have been for him. Watson rejoins in third, behind Art Baz and Craig Bond, but we know they're due again. They are due on pit road again. And Nick Vodiatis has joined us in central commentary, which, well, actually, hang on. What's happened here? Nick's stuck on pit road. Nick's stuck on pit road. What have you done?
I reckon
what have you done?
Nick's trip the you've gone too fast moment.
Oh, no.
Yes, and Greg is correct on that. So,
and
look,
he
I had
was
to get
on
a
track
5-second
for
gap.
second.
I had to get a 5
dear.
second gap, and you know, you push everywhere you can. And unfortunately, tripped myself up. I got 9 seconds left.
Bloody hell. Another sting in the tail tonight for you. It had been a good run up until that point, mate. A dream run, really.
Yeah, it looked to me that in terms of the leaders, I was the one getting the most mileage out of my car. So.
I don't know, Matt Schmicky might have a number on you. I think you're 18 out of the last 10.
Yeah, he was getting good numbers, but he wasn't in the front group. So that was keeping me alive at the front group. But unfortunately, had it coming together with Danny, we seemed to be on the same bit of track all race. So he made a mistake, so I decided to have a go. But unfortunately, you can't really brake and turn into the corner. And I carted him wide accidentally, but so be it. And got my penalty for it.
Yep. Unfortunately for you, what was the penalty, please?
Just 5, but then plus that 40, so it's pretty much a lap down now. So I see Arturo Baz is only 3.5 behind me.
Yeah, but if you stay where you are, Andrew Dyson is back on pit road again. So I mean, you're not going to drop any further at this rate. You will stay.
I'll be on the lead lap at least. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Art Baz is now the effective, the current race leader, but the effective race leader is Marcus Watson, and he's on. Jeez.
Yeah, I reckon Bevan Moyes might have an invoice for that one. That was a very hot entry into pit lane.
And Eduardo Zamora was very lucky not to get cleaned up in all of that. A few too many bundies for Andrew Dyson.
Everybody's on the Friday night waters.
The spicy colas are back on a Friday night. How good. It's season 21 of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and we're exactly where we were in season 1. Bevan Moyes flirting with danger there and stuck on pit road. You're right. He's got an invoice. So he's got a Nick Vodiatis. And,
don't put my name on it.
He's done it.
He's done a Bevan Moyes.
Nick, look at the positives, right? With him on pit lane, you're going to blitz on by, waltz on through, and go back into the top 10, son. Where there's a negative, there's a positive. Back into the top 10 goes Nick. Eduardo Zamora is now off the road as well. Oh, it's all happening. It's all happening at Portland. We might trouble you in a few moments, mate, to take us on a lap of this magnificent circuit. Since you are
all by myself.
With us in the early interim of the final stage of the race. And by the way, boys, as we watch Eduardo Zamora to turn 1, curb. No. It'll be the orbit drop there car park. Turn 3, proudly turn 4, turn 5. Yes, that part of the racetrack, that grass over there, proudly sponsored by Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport tonight.
Yeah, but Eduardo did the right thing. He's just turned his into a lawnmower. He hasn't turned it into an edge trimmer.
Correct.
Yeah, what happened to the Orbit boys?
They all decided to join the Winnebagos on the outside of turn 3.
Oh.
They all
It's-
They're all going everywhere in
practice is
turn 1 on the
overrated.
restart.
Cold tyres practice is overrated, guys. That's all.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, I saw two
dear.
cars going through the chicane. There was all sorts going on, trying to not die. And then I've just noticed every time I go past the pits, it seems to be all the Orbit guys. I was wondering what happened there. So
Now, gentlemen, the other thing I want to alert your attention to, I'm going to get Nick to take us through the next lap around here because, as I said in the opener, Portland, Oregon, the newest circuit on the server, bar the Bend, of course. It was brought to us at the start of this term. It's taken until now for us to bring you a broadcast race from this venue. We can't wait to go to the Bend in term 3, of course. Marcus Watson has got by Craig Bond, has punched out the fastest lap of the race, 59.209. He's only 1.3 seconds off Art Baz, by the way, who is the race leader, but he's due on pit lane any tick of the clock. So Marcus Watson could well balance the account, balance the invoice before Art even goes in to complete the cleansing of the field. Here we go, through turn 1 and 2. Nick,
Talk
take us
straight
for a
in.
lap around Portland, Oregon.
So just leaving the festival turns into the proper turn 1, which is actually turn 4 here, but it's just a constant right-hander, 3 apexes, third gear, and then back down a second for the left-hander. Nice open exit here, a couple different lines, and they've opened this corner up here, turn, I believe it's turn 7, late apex on the power, second gear. Run your way through the gears, don't go on the right side of that curb, ask Scott Dixon. Plenty of crashes there. Now we come to the fast chicane, down 1 gear. And if you muck it up like that, you could end up on the drag strip, but save that one. Off to a new lap, and I'll go through turn 1 again. We're on our way through the gears, up to the festival curves. Plenty of crashes happen here over the years. Can take even more curb than that, you can get right up against the wall, but we did get warned about track limits. So that's 4 tyres off, and then back out into another lap. Off to the Winnebagos.
To
very
me,
nicely done.
From this point here,
Uh-oh.
I can see lots of that. What is
Uh-oh.
it? Oh, that's not nice.
Bondi's lost. Oh. Oh, that's not very nice at all, Craig. It's only because he's here in the booth having a chat to us. I mean, we're not going to disrupt Marcus partway through the race. Hey, listen, Bondi's folded off the road in the meanwhile. That's why I was saying, uh-oh, not because of Craig's comments. In the meantime, oh, yeah, caught the grass, caught the other side of the ripple strip, paid the price. Did Bondi. He drops down to 9th.
And he's
Nick's
done it-
9
he's done
seconds
it
down the
again
road
too.
from him.
Done it again.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Whilst he was chasing
No, I
Eduardo
think that's
Zamora.
the same incident there, Joe.
They're on different. Oh, it's come up twice.
Art Baz to pit road and cleanses the field as a result of that. Matt Schmidtke will be hoping to get home on 3 stops. He will be hoping to stretch this stint out 16 laps, and given the way in which he's gone about his business the first 2 stints, he should be right. Art Baz out back onto the racetrack now. Matt Schmidtke is 3rd. So if he can continue to run on those numbers,
Yeah.
our mate will be on the podium. The only
I-
threat is Ryan Jones, who stopped on lap 43, Greg. So he will be right to just, push, and maybe reel in Matt Schmidtke. That's the only thing I reckon that stands in the way of Schmidtke in a podium.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm just going to be keeping him monitoring Art Badge because he's just thrown a nice new fresh set of alternate tyres on that
he's just
car.
thrown it off the track too.
Yeah, they stuck one in the first 2 laps.
Oh.
And Phil Otto, bang into the wall.
And he's
There goes
back
the wing.
into the fence.
Yeah, so there you
Very,
go. That's,
and miraculously, somehow the wings come back onto the car.
I love iRacing, don't you?
I love,
but
yeah,
now,
iRacing.
Who did too?
Phil Otto back out onto the track as well. So I'm just having a look. 45, 50, 43, 48, 45, 50, 39, Dave Oliver. So Dave Oliver's going to try and do what Matt Schmidtke's doing and run 16 laps to the checkered flag. 43 for Ryan Jones, 42 for Adam Lavis, 43 for Marcus Watson. We start lap 52. There is Ryan Jones in 4th place. He's chasing Matt Schmidtke, but deficit 3.2. But what a night it's been. Great to see Portland make its GSRC debut. And now all eyes on the bend next term. And by the way, Joe mentioned it earlier. I've been meaning to bloody well mention it all night and haven't had a chance to. There's Phil Otto in 10th place at the moment. Nick is 9th. Phil's a lap down. Bevan Moyes is also a lap down. Andrew Dyson is 2 laps down. He's back out there. He's enjoying his 3rd run, I think, now. He's circulating. Denny Davison, a retirement. Jack O'Donnell, Connor Nixon, Aiden Luthwaite, Aiden Carl, the Orbit Drop Bear Quadrella. David Baz, Julian Mookie, Nathan Michael, all parked up and done. Evan Moyes lights up an off-track alert, but nothing to worry about there. Marcus Watson's navigating his way through past Nick Fodiatis' lap traffic now, so Nick will go a lap down. We'll have just 8 left on the lead lap here at Portland International Raceway. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Marcus Watson, Adam Lavis, Matt Schmidtke, 1, 2, 3. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. Get the coffee brewing next week. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're here a little bit longer at the back end of the night. We don't start any earlier. We can't. It's, winter. But we're going to start at 7:25 across the board. Evan Moyes parks up. He's had enough. He's done. There is Dave Oliver on track for top 5. But we've got a 90-minute race in GT3. That's not starting till 8:45 later time because GT4 is running 45 minutes. Wednesday night, the super sprint for the supercars means about 75 minutes worth of racing to look forward to. So we're ending around 10 o'clock, maybe a little bit later. The start time there is scheduled for 9 o'clock because of the so, yes, we're definitely finishing beyond 10 o'clock. It's a quarter of an hour later start because of the later running Bristol round of the ARCA series, which is 60 minutes instead of 50. Thursday night, I think, will be status quo. We'll start the same time, 8:45 for the Porsches, because we don't have any carryover time necessarily with Super Formula Light because it's only the same 40-minute format at Sebring. And then we will go... And here we go, under investigation, incident involving Nick Fodiatis and Marcus Watson. Now, what might that be?
We never touched. He just didn't get past me, so I was like, oh, take your time then.
I say it all looked perfectly clean and fine to me.
Fair enough.
At least from our position here in the com box.
The only bit of work race controls had to do all night, really. I mean, did not have to lift a finger during Formula Ford. Last lap, white flag in there, final lap around at Portland. Thursday night, the Porsches is the super sprint format, so we're going beyond 10 o'clock Eastern with the racing there. And Friday night, it's 500 kilometres, 125 laps, 90 minutes around the Brickyard to get the job done for the Road to Indy series. And it too starts at 8:45, so we're going to be still racing well and truly this time next week, heading towards about a finish of 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, Marcus Watson's half a lap from home. Faultless, flawless performance tonight. Pole into the race win. And it's going to be a definitive and defining one with regards to the championship fight. He came here with a 5-point advantage over Adam Lavis. Adam Lavis is second tonight. He's going to extend that. And Marcus Watson, too good at Portland International Raceway. He wins the first GSRC Spreyton Cider Road to Indy Series race at the venue and puts himself in the box seat as the favourite for the title going into next week at the Brickyard. That was clinical, commanding and dominant tonight. 23 seconds to winning margin over that man there, Adam Lavis, who did everything he needed to do to stay in the fight. Matt Schmidtke, well done, well played. Holds off Ryan Jones, gets a podium, 3rd place for Matt Schmidtke. I'm going to go out on a limb there, and I reckon that's his best finish of the season, and I'm right too. 18th, 21st, 14th, 10th, 10th, 16th, 7th, and 12th. It's well and truly a PB for Schmidtke. Ryan Jones in for 4th. Dave Oliver holds off Art Baz. Craig Bond will come through in 7th. Eduardo Zamora 8th. Rick's already taken the checkered flag in 9th. Phil Otto as well. And Andrew Dyson rounds out the field in 11th. Whew. So 45% of the field failed to finish that. Can you believe it? Can you believe that? Bevan Moyes, if it had stayed in the server, he would have been classified. But that's it.
I'm honestly surprised at the attrition rate in that. But
Simple
yeah,
track.
no, look. Sorry, Nick. What was that?
I was just saying, it's simple track, but it looks simple on paper, but you still got to drive it properly, and some people have come undone.
Yeah, so I was saying to the boys earlier, I reckon that'd be a cracking track to throw some Gen 3 supercars around. So I might just give that a tickle next season. We'll see what happens. But no, yeah, I'm honestly surprised at the attrition rate. But obviously, if it is the part and parcel of the new tyre model and maybe a lack of prep from the guys, it is bound to happen. But yeah, it's well done to the boys that did finish, and well done to Marcus to cap it off with a very commanding win, and well done to the two guys from the Aussie races, Stable, Matt and Adam, to close out the podiums there.
Yeah, thank you for that, by the way. Look, if I couldn't get on there, I was hoping my teammates could do the job, and they did, so well done to them.
And if anyone's wondering where the pictures have gone to, I've just saved it and I'm loading up the replay because they're shutting down the servers shortly. So I wanted to get ahead of the curve. We only had about 12 minutes. And I don't know that we'll get everything done with the ensemble cast that's in here in the booth. Want to have a chat? We might need to replay.
About time we had a decent showing for a bloody post-race show this week too, by the way. Now, Aidan Kale asked the question there a few moments ago. Do we know if Tuesday night is being broadcast? At this stage, given that there's only 7 or 8 bums in seats in both classes, my strong gut feeling is the answer will be no. But if there's a strong enough interest and commitment from people to put bums in seats and put cars on the grid, so that those 5 races, 2 in the Downforce Legends and 3 in the TCR, are worth doing, then that going to provide some sort of positive life-affirming entertainment rather than a snooze fest. And there might be some incentive to broadcast them, but at this stage, I would suggest probably not. And if we do go all 5 nights of Grand Final week, it'll be 5 nights in the booth for yours truly doing play-by-play, considering that everybody is MIA at the moment that does play-by-play other than me. Liam Banks, of course. Sorry, Joe?
Strepsils incoming.
Correct. I will need some because of the fact that Liam Banks is over at the Circuit de la Sarthe at the moment and wasn't thoughtful enough to take his broadcasting rig with him and broadcast trackside from France. That would have been an ideal. Anyway, we hope Banksy enjoys.
Can you imagine that, him sitting at like the outside of Turn 1 or down somewhere on the Mulsanne?
Wouldn't that be great?
And having the Valkyrie go past, or a caddy go screaming past, or you take the Porsche into account, like the GT3 Porsches. That would be just fantastic.
By the way, just while we're covering off, dotting the I's and crossing the T's of the night that was, we'll get to Craig Bond, Dave Oliver, Marcus Watson and Matt Schmidtke in just a moment. In a night where the Orbit Drop Bear stable won the Indycar Show and Shine, the Aussie Racers stable are racing to bed. Adam Lavis has already ducked off. He's got an early start tomorrow. Nick's about to go. So, Matt Schmidtke, you've drawn the short straw. You're going to be the team spokesperson in a moment. However, Nick, initial thoughts on how good it is to have this track. It's an underrated track, and it's great to finally have it in iRacing and finally do a competitive GSRC race around it.
Well, I've been kicking and screaming about this track, so I couldn't wait till we run the IndyCars and around the circuit. So, 3 kilometres around, 1 minute laps, makes it easy to do all your calculations, all that kind of stuff. So, just got to keep it on the island until that safety car, and then your strategy all starts. So, and we saw that because there was, I think, the 5 guys in front of me plus myself, we all stayed out, and everybody behind me pitted. So, differing strategies, but we all ended up at the same spot at the end of the day.
Indeed. Really unfortunate for you that you got tripped up on the entrance to pit lane. I mean, when you take that 35 seconds out of it, where'd you end up in the end? You were a lap down, so it's a bit hard to actually gauge what that might have meant for potential finishing position without it, but still in a race where the attrition was high. Great that you were able to bag the results finish anyway, mate, because there were a fair few that are going to be classified as a DNF and have a big fat zero, duck egg, next to them. Brickyard next week. We expect them to come out of the woodwork for this one, mate. It's always one of our favourites, the GSRC Indy 500 kilometre, 125 laps, around 90 minutes worth of drama and excitement ahead of us there. We saw the drama that unfolded last year. We had an absolutely magnificent time of it. And what's the message to fill the house and get a packed grid there next Friday night, knowing that there's probably only going to be one or two competition cautions to work with here? Will there be a little bit of discretion and leverage given to race control to deploy a second, considering that we're going an extra 30 minutes than we normally would?
Yet to be discussed. However, to get bums on seats, I have to say we have to direct everybody to the iRacing page, Zach, and your lovely final lap call there from last year's race. That was bloody ripper. So, yeah, bums on seats. It's just, yeah, people turn up. We've already watched the real race. Let's get in and do the online one.
Yeah, indeed. We're looking forward to it immensely next week. Friday night, 8:30 Eastern. Be there, as the great Mike Raymond always said. Nick, speaking of be there, we know we won't see you Thursday night in the entree slot. SFL, Sebring, you tend to avoid that place like the plague. However, Watkins Glen Cup for the GT4s Monday night. Hopefully see you on the grid there. Big grand final week coming up, and it's always one of our favourite times of the year. We're a little bit greedy. We get to do grand final week 4 times in every given year, but it's always one to look forward to because there's so much at stake, and it always brings a few people out of the woodwork that aren't necessarily championship contenders, but you cannot take them out of race consideration.
No, that's right. I mean, you know, grand final week, people returning back, having a bit of fun, less pressure as well, and yeah, some good choices of tracks coming up. So yeah, well, look, I'm still yet to make up my mind if I'm turning up because I've had a full-on week this week. We'll see what happens next week. But yeah, definitely here on Friday night.
And looking forward to it immensely, mate. You want to shed some light, give us some insight into what we might be looking forward to next term? Because that's now only, a week away from being at the forefront of everyone's mind. There's a 2-week break to get to. So 4 weeks' time, the 11th of July, we'll be sitting here having called the first Friday Night Motorsport of Term 3. Any insights?
No, because we're still 4 weeks away.
Okay. No teasers, no samples yet.
I mean, also, I'd like to. I've said this from the get-go. I'm going to put a vote up anyway. So get the guys who race on Friday nights. They're the ones that are here to let us know out of the selection that I'll have what they want to race. I'll give IndyCars a rest because obviously I don't want another hypercar debacle where the hypercar was too quick, then it was too slow, and the tyres were absolute dog poo. And there's still apparently there's an oval problem with this car. I've been talking to one of my friends in the States, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it gets sorted by next week.
Hopefully so. We don't want the final round of the IndyCar series becoming farcical in any sense of the word. Now, big thanks to Spreyton Ciders for their ongoing support of the series. Mate, well done again. I've been given a little bit of intel into the discussions that are being had with regards to next term. It sounds exciting.
No one's talked to me yet, so...
Yeah, so, I would suggest that you use the privilege of the last word in your Discord handle there, a committee, to have that discussion going forward. Nick, great work as always, mate. Unlucky, but well done. Got to the finish, and that's all that matters. Looking forward to maybe seeing these around the bend later in the year because that's all the hype at the moment. That's all the talk and chatter. But in the meantime, we'll focus on the Brickyard next Friday night.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Well done, Nick.
Brilliant. 9th place in the end. It was unlucky, to be fair. It was looking like it was going to be so much better than that until he got caught out by pit lane entry. And it's weird that we say that, isn't it? Because Nick's the master of, every time we talk to him about these racetracks, he says, practice your pit entries, practice your pit entries. his own mantra tripped him up tonight, unfortunately. Matt Schmidtke, I'm coming to you in a moment. Marcus Watson, race winner. Bondi can stay with us a little bit longer because it's not a school night, so that's fine. Marcus Watson, well done. Clinical performance, dominant, crushed them, smashed them. In excess of 20 seconds to the good, my friend. That must have felt good.
Yeah, thank you very much. Was an awesome race, and I think it's probably one of my biggest wins ever. 20 seconds. I didn't expect it to be that big. Obviously, the guys further down must have been fighting or got caught up or something. But overall, it was a good race, and yeah, very happy with the result.
I actually suggested to people at the start of the night, mate, that they put money on anyone but you, because the 3 races that you've won have been the 3 that I haven't been here to commentate. So that trend changes. I finally got to call the Marcus Watson Indycar win. But in saying that, still very much a game of cat and mouse, a game of to and fro with regards to the championship, because we know that the Brickyard can bring the best of them undone, mate. We're going to see how next week plays out. 125 laps stand between you and the title. And it looks as though it's only going to be a 2-horse race between you and Adam Lavis. It's a fascinating scenario going into that final round, and we know how strong Adam is when it comes to not just the Brickyard, but ovals in general. How are you feeling about that, knowing what the equation was tonight, knowing that you held him off, kept him at bay, ticked all the boxes, won the race? He's finished second, so he's done everything that he could do within his power as well. But it means that the championship is alive going into next Friday night, which is a fascinating way for us to end the season.
I mean, I won't really go into it any different to any other race. I mean, I'm definitely worse, if you want to say that, at ovals than road. I mean, ovals aren't my thing, especially in the IndyCar, but I'll do some practice. I know I'll be competitive. I think one of the big things that will catch me out will be the fuel saving, because Adam seems to do that very, very well on the road and the oval. So yeah, I think long race be cool. Just got to try and stay out of the rubbish and be there at the end and try and pick up as many points as we can and just worry about ourselves. It's going to be a long race. There's going to be a lot of crashes, and really just don't want to be involved in any dumb stuff early.
Define dumb.
Just 3 wide first lap. Just people maybe trying to raise myself and Adam extremely hard when they just got nothing to lose, and it's like the middle of the race or something. And there's a lot of people in these races like that, so I'm really going to be looking forward to that. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that just want to be in my way, and having blue flags. I mean, there's no such thing as blue flags on ovals, so
no.
My prediction is I'll probably get taken out by a lap car or something, but I really hope that doesn't happen, and we're there to fight at the end.
Mate, we hope it doesn't happen for you as well. We don't like to see championships won or lost that way either. Your thoughts on Portland? I mean, new circuit for everybody in the club, because it's the first time the series has visited here. And of course, is a new addition to the iRacing server in the last couple of months. We've seen it in the real world. Your impressions of it as far as the sim world equivalent is concerned?
I think it's a really cool track. It's a little fast track. It's really a kind of track that I do enjoy. Even just doing laps around. Before this race, I hadn't done any laps in the IndyCar here. I raced here in SRW in the Super Formula Light and won that. So like I had a lot of confidence coming into this race. I knew I was quick here. So I really just had to put that all into the IndyCar, and it was a bit more fun doing laps for this race because of the updates to the IndyCar, and I think it sounds pretty cool. So I was really enjoying the combination.
Indeed. You saw off the threats as well. Aidan Luthwaite was there within the early stages. Andrew Dyson led from the front early through the first stint. He by his own admission, he'd had one too many Bundys on a Friday night before jumping behind the wheel. And you also saw off the threat of Ryan Jones as well, mate. So the challenges were there. but they weren't there for too long. You had a fairly smooth, clean, tidy run through the second, third, and fourth stint. And also, it's important to note that because of, and I didn't get a chance to mention this with Nick, he was a bit pressed for time. I loved where the safety car fell because it was right smack bang in the middle. And this is about the only part of the race that I called bang on, I will admit. Where it fell left you with a real 50-50 gamble, didn't it? It's the first time we've had in the series. Do you pit and make a rod for your own back with the fourth stop, or do you stay out and run the gauntlet? Yes, pay the price not being on the fresher rubber, having to take more fuel under green flag conditions, etc., but make one less run down the pit lane. What was going through your mind?
Going into it when the safety car first came out, I mean, I did want to pit, and I think in the end it showed that pitting was the best option and the fastest overall option. But I just thought too much about track position and like the fast guys behind me. Like, I mean, I wasn't really worried about anyone else at the back, what they were doing, because that doesn't bother me at all. It's like the main people, like you say, like Dyson, like Aiden, like those guys that I'm really watching. And I wanted to pit, honestly, and then I saw they didn't, so I was just too worried about the track position and wanted to keep that. So I just thought I'd stay out with them and just try and put my head down and build as much of a gap as I could. But yeah, really, if I saw any kind of sign that they were going to pit, I would have come in. Yeah.
Indeed. So next week, the Brickyard. Will we see you on the SFL grid as well, Marcus? I mean, there's a lot to play out next week. At the end of the day, I'm hazarding a guess that you've already, ticked the box, met the requirements to qualify for the Australian Open World Nationals, which is coming up on July 2. But where's your focus next week? What are you going to jump behind the wheel of?
I'll just be doing this next week. I've got no interest in super formulas, well, through this club anyways. I mean, it just hasn't been working for me lately, like race after race, and I just haven't really been enjoying it, to be honest. I'm not there in the championship. I mean, Sebring would be a cool race, but yeah, I'm just not really interested. Rather put my focus to this. I've been enjoying the Indycar, and I mean, I have a championship that I'm fighting for. So yeah, it will just be the Indycar for next week, and I think I automatically qualify for Open World Nationals anyways because I won last time.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the criteria there is. In fact, I reckon Jack O'Donnell and Sam Chapman should be putting their hand up and saying all Australian Open World National champions should be given some sort of discretion, if you like. There's the equation, folks. 12 points. Marcus Watson to Adam Lavis. Forget about everybody else, really. Art Baz would need a miracle. 265, 239 for Nick Vadiatis, 234 for Nathan Michael, despite 0 tonight. 231 for Matty Schmidtke, up 2 spots. Very nicely done. Dave Oliver also up to 220. Sam Sutton, we haven't seen him for weeks, but he's there, 218. 195 for Tyson Broad, 153 for Cameron Dance, 145 for Jacko Dial. That makes up the top 11. There you have it.
Like I said to Jeff Adams after the last race, do your maths, Marcus, before you go into the final round. Have a look and make sure you got in your head. Obviously, Adams, your biggest competitor for next week, and you've just got to work out if Adam finishes here, you have to finish here, and that's it. I mean, he's my teammate. I wish him well. I hope Adam can get it, but you're a fierce competitor, so I'm sure you're across what you need to do. But yeah, it's just one of those things, mate. You're in a position now where you've probably done the hard work, even with the extra round off that you had. You certainly had a memorable season as far as results go. Probably Homestead's probably been your only real bleb for the whole series, where you finished in 12th, I think. I can't actually remember. I think you had a pit lane penalty there, didn't you?
Yeah, 12 at Homestead.
At Homestead.
Yeah, that was for that pit entrance rubbish.
You had one from us, but you also had a iRacing one as well.
And then the iRacing one as well.
iRacing gave you one.
So what should have been?
You got held over the
Yeah.
coals twice, Marcus. Dear.
Doesn't sound like me.
No, not at all. No, I wasn't going to say it, but you did, so no, we'll live with that. Hey, well done, buddy. Great performance tonight. Cleaned up in Oregon. We'll see what you bring to the Brickyard next week. 125 laps, 500 Ks. That's what stands between you and Adam Lavis and IndyCar Series supremacy. We wish you both the best of luck. Go well. Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I just want to thank Matt Bollard for the pain and my family for all their support, and you guys for the broadcast, everyone for the good race.
And tell your dad, we love the crew chief's choice of throat lubrication tonight.
Will do. Well, he's heard it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in our comments at the moment still. Well done. Now, a bit of breaking news for you, gentlemen. Australia are taking to the field. They know the assignment. They know what's at stake. 282 the target for South Africa to win the World Test Championship. For Australia, it's 10 wickets. Because there are 8 sessions left in the match, you can just about put a line through the draw, given the carnage that we've seen so far through 2 days and 1 session. Adelaide 5-14, 44 lead. Hawthorn 5-11-41. That is a dog of a game of football. I feel for the people of Tasmania. They deserve a better spectacle than that, but at least it's close. Earlier tonight, the Titans accounted for the Seagulls in Friday Night Football, 28 points to 8. Getting to Matt Schmidtke in just a moment, getting to Craig Bond in just a moment. But thankfully, this bloke reminded me that he's got an early night requirement because he's got a big day tomorrow. He's going to be up bright and early. He'll be up before the sun's up tomorrow morning. Hello, Dave Oliver. Well done. Good charge. Good hustle. Talk us through the race from your standpoint, please.
Can't hear you, Dave.
I can't hear you, Dave. Lights are on. No one's home. What's going on there, please?
Hello.
There you are.
There we go. That's better.
Yep, sorry. Yeah, hey guys.
You've been in here more often than to be tripped up by that. Jesus.
No, I just knocked my mic boom. The stupid thing.
Yes.
So yeah. Just kept it clean. Did pretty well on strat. Probably made one little mistake with the strategy at the safety car, but other than that, yeah, pretty good night.
Very good night, mate. I mean, let's have a look at the IndyCar point standings. You're 7th with a couple of rounds to go. You've been consistent the last few weeks, 6th, 6th, 9th and 5th. And the only reason for the 9th, you got a 10-second penalty at Road America. I didn't see the race. I can't comment on that. But again, regular top 10 finisher. That's reflected by the point standings, mate. The fuel strat, that game was interesting tonight. The fact that you went with everybody else on the first stop and then kind of went about your business in your own way for the remainder of the race. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I decided to dive in, and I stupidly didn't take tyres on that at the safety car where I probably should have, and then just done the 2 or 3 lap run and then the short fill. I just found that, there was a big bank of cars there and I just decided, roll the dice and, come down and top up, but also I changed tyres. So really I lost, maybe, 6 seconds or something like that compared just to a normal top up. So if I had have done tyres in that at the safety car, I would have only just had a quick top up and then away I went. But after that, it was just a case of, run it on fuel mixture 5, on bit of lifting and all that kind of stuff, and effectively only just made it. Got to turn 1 at the end and it conked out, or I coughed essentially across the line. So I didn't, and even then I didn't get to use any push to pass or anything like that. So yeah, it was just a case of try something different. The safety car kind of fell at a good time to kind of try something like that, and yeah. Kind of worked well. Obviously, there was a fair high attrition for a lot of the fast guys that, would have been in the top 10. So if, a lot of those quick guys had to finish, I would have been maybe knocking on the 10. But obviously, as much as it sucks that, you take those points when you can.
Portland as a racetrack. Great addition to the server in our opinion. Yours?
Wasn't too sure how it was going to go. I did a couple laps and stuff, but pre and post the update, just to kind of see how it would go. And I wasn't too sure how it would go, but I think once everyone kind of settled in and kind of figured out, how it was to drive and all that, it kind of went all right. So, lucky it wasn't, stinking hot. Like, I think practice it was pushing 40-something degrees, where I think in my testing it was a bit cooler. So it was a little bit more understeery, but, kind of drove all right. So it'd be interesting to see what other types of cars are like around here.
Well, that's exactly right. Although that being said, it'll be a while before we're back here. We don't have it on the schedule in grand final week anywhere, and we don't know what the Term 3 schedule looks like yet. And, of course, there's a big 2-week gap in between as well. The interesting thing for mine is you'll be right there when the whips are cracking at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week, if last year is anything to go by, mate. What are your thoughts on that one, how it might play out? Are you looking forward to another crack at the Brickyard and maybe a chance at redemption?
Yeah, obviously I haven't really done much since then, especially on the Indy. I think I've even missed potentially 2 of the oval rounds, even just this season. So the only one I done was Homestead. So, gotta, I don't know, just see how I go, keep it off the wall, and if I see, and give that turn. Was it the wall between turn 3 and 4, the middle finger every lap for redemption after last year. So when I decided, let's just see if I can catch up the guy in front and scoot through turn 3 a little bit quicker. Yeah, it didn't work. So
no, it certainly didn't, but there's always next week. As far as the championship's concerned, mate, I mean, 14 points between you and Nathan Michael, 19 points between you and Nick Vodiatis. So the chance at a top 5 championship finish is still very much there in the offing.
Yeah, and especially with Indy and enduro points and stuff, it's it's anyone's game still. So it'll just be a case of try and keep it clean and see how the cards fall at the end.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. I know you've got an early start tomorrow morning. Good luck with that. Where else will we see you popping up next week, grand final week?
Definitely with the GD3s. I still haven't actually driven the new update yet. So I think once tomorrow's out of the way, I'll have to try and get my head wrapped around the new car and at least try and get a comfortable, safe setup for Nords, and see, and just try and finish and hopefully beat the other 2 guys, and actually if it all works well, hopefully I'll keep first place in the championship. But however it ends up, it's been a good season.
Indeed it has. All right, mate. Very nicely done. Go get some shut-eye. Good luck behind the lens tomorrow. Go well. We'll catch up Monday night.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Big weekend on the lounge if you're a motorsport fan too, by the way, folks. I'll get to that very shortly. Just repeating the news too. Jeff Adams continues to hold sway in the GSRC Formula Ford Championship, but Adam Lavis hasn't yet updated the points there on that one. He has updated Indycar. I dare say the Formula Ford update will be coming tomorrow. But yes, we had yet again 2 different race winners there tonight. South Africa, none for 7 in the second over against Australia. They're going along quite nicely. But once the wickets start falling, I reckon they'll happen at a rapid rate of knots. They'll need to for Australia to be able to retain the World Test Championship trophy.
And 30 seconds to go down in Launceston with 17 seconds to go now.
10 seconds. And I'm just watching it on right of screen here, Greg. Adelaide need to clear it in a hurry. They're going to run out of time. Hawthorn prevail in a sloppy old game on a Friday night. They win 6-11, 47 to 5-14, 44. Jesus Christ. Straight Kicking took a vacation tonight. 5-14, that's 19 scoring shots, and you still lose the game of football by the team that scored 6-11, 17 scoring shots by 3 points. Hawthorn prevail over Adelaide. Yep, cop that City of Churches. Lovely. Speaking of which, that's a good segue to go and say hello to Matt Schmidtke, because he's from that part of the world. Extraordinary Friday night. I can't wait to turn the volume up on Amazon Prime and just sit here and watch all the drama unfold at Lords. It will be worth the late finish and the weary eyes tomorrow, and then I'm off to watch some soccer out at the Briggs Road Sporting Complex. Marcus Watson victorious here tonight. Audi. It was the Audi GTO that won the wheel spin, wasn't it, Joe, for Mountain Men tomorrow night?
It certainly was.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're going to get around that. Coming to you in a moment, Mr. Bond. Coming back to Greg Heaney and also Joe Baldwin for some final thoughts as well. Matt Schmidtke, well done. I mean, from the commentary box one night to the racetrack the next, he's a man of few words, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to try and claw a few out of him here. Great performance, my friend. Played the game beautifully. Strategy, ran the long run, saved the juice required, went through on 3 stops and put one on all the boys around you and represent Aussie races on the podium alongside your teammate Adam Lavis. 2 Aussie races entries on the podium. What a night. And your best result by far and away as far as the IndyCar season is concerned, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Yep, well, that's redemption for last week where I ran out of fuel trying to do the fuel save, so got that one in the box. And yeah, when the safety car come out, we were talking about the strategy, and I think Adam said it's going to be a 17 and a 16, and I'd done a 16 from the start of the race, and I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to try and get the 17, so that's what I did. And then, yeah, just tried to manage the gap. I was hoping I'd stay out in front of Adam enough to beat him, but I just couldn't quite save enough fuel because he was on fuel map 1 flat out, but managed to keep it ahead enough to stay in 3rd place. So I'm very happy with that.
Indeed, mate. And as you say, redemption. Some people, you know, if it fails the first time, they don't try it the second time. You've tried the second time round and you've been rewarded. Initial thoughts on the Portland circuit?
You know, I had never seen the layout until I think it was yesterday or tonight when I got home and looked it up. So, you know, it's actually pretty fun. That a lot of right-handers at the start of the track's not really my cup of tea, but other than that, I was quite enjoying it.
Indeed. Can you convert that form into oval trim next week, Indianapolis Motor Speedway? I mean, at the end of the day, it was the survival of the fittest out there tonight. The Orbit boys wiped themselves out, all isolated single vehicle incidents. You wouldn't fair dinkum read about it. They've fallen over on their own, but also simultaneously, they all ended up on pit road. When you look at the finishing order, ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order. Connor Nixon involved, Aidan Luthwaite, Aidan Kale, and Jack O'Donnell. They all fell over like a domino effect. So, yes, they wiped themselves out. Yes, it was a little bit processional for you towards the end there. But at the end of the day, survival of the fittest. You were able to do that. How do you talk yourself through that race when, you know, that last stint can be a little bit lonely and you haven't got anyone necessarily to race or to work with?
It's just a matter of just watching the fuel number and making sure it didn't go too high, because I ended up with a little bit extra than I needed. I got on the push to pass on that last lap just to make sure, and then it conked out just on the exit of the turn 1 chicane there, and you just watch the fuel number, manage the gap. Not that I did too much of that because I was mostly watching the fuel. Like I said, I was trying to stay out in front of Adam and initially Nick as well, but then he ran into some trouble, so I didn't have to worry about him after that. And yeah, I did so the stint after the stop, I had Eduardo in front of me for a while there, as you can see, helping me save some fuel. Give him a shout out. He probably got me that 17th lap worth of fuel. It did splutter a bit coming into the pits, but I made it to the box. So yeah, just watch the fuel and try not to spin. I nearly died coming out of my box and coming out of the pit lane on that last stop. The tyres were so cold, but it didn't happen. So
Being the only one had that happen. There was a fair few tonight that succumbed to the cold tyre coming out of the pit lane. So
yeah, also I thought I was done for coming into the pits on the last stop as well. I'm sure I hit the line at doing like 100. I was meant to go and check, but I forgot. I was going so fast. I was sure I was getting a penalty, but I didn't. So that worked out well.
Breaking news, gentlemen. Mitchell Stark strikes first ball, second over, removes Ryan Rickleton. It was on umpire review. In the umpire's opinion, it was a bump ball, but no, it was clearly after the bump that the nick of the bat occurred, and Starkey has picked up his first. Caught Kerry, bowled Stark. Rickleton's got to go. It's 1 for 9. They still need 273 to win. Australia need 9 wickets. World Test Championship final on Amazon Prime or SEN, depending upon whether you've got an Amazon Prime subscription or you've got a DAB radio and just want to listen in via the SEN app. Tonight, at least you can listen to free coverage. You won't be able to watch free coverage, but you can listen to free coverage. Matty Schmidtke, it was interesting too. When you look at the results, boys, Watson and Schmidtke the 3-stop, Lavis the 4-stop. Both strategies had their benefits tonight. Both strategies were rewarded by way of podium finish. It was interesting to see how all that played out. As you quite rightly mentioned, Greg, and I think Joe did as well, verified it, the guys that were a little bit further down the order, they had nothing to lose by running the 4-stop strategy. But Schmidtke and Watson were both able to make the 3-stop work, and it was interesting to see such a dynamic, such a difference in strategy tonight brought about by the perfectly timed competition caution.
yeah, most definitely. And as Joe did allude to when that caution came out, it's like, yeah, obviously the back half of the field went for the lane to take the fuel early to get that covered off and sorted, which obviously not having the ideal track position at that point in time, they had the ability to do so. And then it was just keeping the car clean and keeping it on the road, and obviously then in the end it all came out in the wash. Luckily for some of the guys there that the unannounced orbit drop bear show and shine was on. And the boys are probably going to hate me for keep saying that, but I'm pretty sure Jackson chimed in with that and agreed to it at some point there. But
That's right.
But yeah, it was just a case of the guys up the front just needed to, and then ended up inheriting those positions. Just had to keep it clean, and Mav and Matty were a perfect example of that. And as you say, yeah, Mav did take the extra stop, but still, for the pace he was carrying tonight, paid dividends.
Indeed. All right, Matty Schmidtke. Next week, Brickyard, looking forward to that. I know we get to share the booth together for Grand Final Thursday. Where else are you going to jump up and have a run on track in Grand Final week, please?
I think I'm going to head into the GT3s, have a crack at the Nords.
Why not?
I was going to race last week, but the rain and not having driven the GT3 in ages, I was like, yeah, maybe not. Especially since I'm still in the pro split. I'm hoping I'll be slow enough on Monday that won't be the case next season. And then think I'll sit the ARCA series out. I'm a bit low on them safety license points after some poor decisions last week, or this week, sorry. Well, one poor decision on the circuit, and Bristol, I don't own that track. I'm not much a fan of the short tracks either, really, so we'll skip that. And then, yeah, Indycar. I've never done the oval at Indy. Not a fan of the road course, but hopefully the oval's a bit better.
Wide open is all I can give you the tip on.
A full throttle commitment plus. That's what's required when we get to the Brickyard. South Africa 1 for 13. Matt Schmidtke, well done tonight. Great performance. As I said, PB for you this season in the IndyCar. Hopefully a sign of things to come. And we'll see you Thursday night. Obviously, we look forward to your feedback on the Nords on Monday night as well. Isn't it interesting, though, right, before Matt leaves, isn't it interesting, boys? Normally we hear about people whinging about being promoted, and normally promotion is a sign of improvement and getting up there and playing with the big boys and all that sort of stuff. You get the occasional member, right, Bondi wasn't terribly happy about being promoted up a split earlier in the season either, but now you got Matt Schmidtke begging and pleading to be dropped down. We've reached that point we've reached the turnover point of the season where there's a few people saying, look, we want to be a big fish in a small pond again rather than a small fish in a big pond. But well done, Matt. Great performance tonight, mate. There's only one server in the IndyCar series, so all in next week at the Brickyard, and we hope that you can turn around that form in the oval sense that you were just highlighting there and put on a show and maybe even play a role in helping Adam Laver secure the title against Marcus Watson. That's going to be a beauty showdown. That is going to be a mega night at the office.
Oh, it will be. Thanks, boys.
There he is, Matt Schmidtke. Last but not least, on the road to Gundagai. Hello, Craig Bond. At one point there, you were leading the thing. At one moment there, you were second to Art Baz. It was all looking, nice and bright and shiny and rosy. And then all of a sudden, only two little blips in the road for you tonight, but they happened at a costly time where we caught you in the grass. But in saying that, you kept it on the straight and narrow, you brought it home, and that's exactly what you needed to do. Seventh, despite not qualifying, so let's just highlight that for a moment. He's arrived late into the server. He hasn't settled up in quali, but you charged through the field beautifully, mate. Survived the rate of attrition that we've already highlighted, and a top 7 result is the reward in your return to the IndyCar series. Well done.
Hello, Zach and boys. Yeah, it's a pretty good night actually, except bottoming the car out on the exit of, I don't know what corner that is, which sent me into the grass, but oh well. It was pretty good, top 10, and yeah, I was panicking a bit with coming home with 2 minutes to spare to register for the race, coming home from work, so got a bit close, and next week's probably going to be a bit closer, so I might have to work something up around.
Yes,
we'll see.
You're going to have to dot the I's and cross the T's and formulate a plan of attack much earlier than tonight, mate. But the Brickyard, 125 laps, 8:45 Eastern next Friday night. We're looking forward to that immensely. All right, we'll get to that in a moment. Portland, new racetrack on the server. Your initial thoughts, your impressions of that track, because it's turned on a belter of a race tonight.
I love the track. When it first came out, I was having a sook about not exactly having the money to buy it.
You were having a sook? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
right
surprising for me.
Well, I was going to say, it's nice that a driver actually comes in here and admits it. Go on.
Yeah, so, well, mate's got sick of having me complain every single minute in the Discord, so he just gave me the money to get it, and that's one way to make me go quiet. And yes, I did pay him back afterwards.
Good boy.
A bit of interest.
Good boy. Squared the ledger. Good.
It's a really fun track. I haven't done much in terms of racing. I've done like single laps in like other cars, but yeah, it's actually pretty fun to actually race at. Nice, tight, technical.
Indeed, and perfect for these Indy cars. There's no doubt about that. Looking forward to the real world trip there later in the year, and of course IndyCar on this weekend in Illinois as well. There's the assignment for us next week. It's the Oval. It's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 125 laps. Now, Bondi, interesting to note as well. You were one of the guys that zigged into the pit lane during the safety car. What was the thought process with you with regards to the strategy game that you played throughout the course of the night? Because as I said, there was vast variance right throughout the field. It was good to see a mix of strategy on.
It's me. I don't think, I just react, and sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. And I'm like, free pit stop, I'll just come in the pits. I don't go too deep into this strategy stuff of, fuel save and I'll get an extra lap out of the tank, or I'll do this, it'll do this at the end. I just drive it and hit when I need to, come out when I need to and stuff. So sometimes that probably costs me not thinking ahead, but sometimes it does work. So
All right, and what about that tag one next to your name at the moment? It says current GSRC Porsche Open Cup champion, a tag that you can hold on to for only 6 more days, my friend. Unfortunately, you'll hand the mantelpiece to somebody else next Thursday night, but it's a big grand final week coming up. Great to see you on the track tonight, as we say, 7th. What are your thoughts on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? If you do get home in time to jump in and have a crack, probably a burn from the stern effort again. But it's always such a lottery when we go there because the potential for incidents at high speed is high, if you pardon the pun. And we know that there'll be probably a few more bums in seats, cars on the grid as a result of the fact that it is the Brickyard, it is 500 Ks, it's one of the staples of the GSRC racing calendar.
It's I'm looking. If I get home, I'm looking forward to it. That's probably the second race I've most wanted to do in GSRC Indycar this season. I think Portland was the one I was most looking forward to be totally honest. But I'm not that good on ovals, especially with aero wash. As soon as I get behind someone, my pace drops off massively. So if once I learn that and get a bit better with that, I only struggle with Indycars, like NASCARs and ARCA. I'm not too bad in, but we'll see. It should be fun. Just circulate, stay out of trouble, and then have a go in the last couple ups. See what happens.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Mitchell Stark into his 3rd over here, boys. Bowling to the South Africans and getting carted to the boundary. It's 1 for 24, the South Africans. Mean business. They know the importance of getting in and getting runs early to lighten the load of the work required to be done by the tail end batsmen who offered little to no resistance in the first innings, it's fair to say. They still require 258 runs for victory. They've got 9 wickets in hand. If they do it, it'll be World Test Championship number 1 for South Africa, but it'll also be, of course, the highest innings total of the entire match on what has been a very bowler-friendly wicket in London. Bondi, how does the weekend look, please? A lot of real-world racing to watch on the telly, but some sim racing requirements await us on the back end of that, no doubt. Some laps being put in readiness for grand final week.
As far as I know, I'll work both nights, so Saturday, Sunday nights. Sadly, I'll probably have a sleep into almost midday on both days, and remaining of those days would probably be spent watching real world stuff, or might turn some laps on the sim and try and get my ratings up.
Why not? Why not? It sounds like a magnificent weekend all the same, mates. I hope, however you do end up spending it, I hope it's a good one for you. Go well. Well done tonight. As we say, those 2 isolated incidents, the only thing that tripped you up this evening, otherwise a clean run, a top 7 finish in a race that was a survival of the fittest, and a night where some of the heavyweights of the series tripped up and parked up. So well done for that, outlasting them, and we'll catch up with you Monday night, mate. Go well.
Have a good night. Have a good weekend, everyone, and I'll put the Bell Cancer donation link in the comments again.
Please do. Please do. Good to see that the fundraiser is going well and it's ongoing for such a good cause as well. Bondi did mention that one last night for us, and we appreciate that. Matt Schmidtke's still here. He'll have a chat with us off air post race. In fact, I'm glad he's here because 3 committee people for me to talk to at the end of the night. There we go. There's your meme of the night. Crashing at Portland T3 on cold reds. Aiden Lithwaite, Jackson, Connor, all of them in. Thrown under the bus. Who threw them under the bus, please?
That boy. Connor Nixon. That's a self throw, and that's bloody hilarious. She's made my night.
That is brilliant.
That is too funny.
That is very, very funny.
But look, mate, we've always said we're here for a sledge. We're here for a cheeky drive by every now and then. But when on a night where unfortunately they've all tripped up like that, the fact that they can sit there after the fact and have a giggle about it and maybe take the piss out of themselves, 10 points to those guys. Well played. It is 24 minutes to 11 on a Friday night. The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. We are just about done. Joe Baldwin and also Greg Heaney, thank you for your help throughout the course of the evening, gentlemen. Your final thoughts. Greg.
I'm very much looking forward to see what this new tyre and aero package brings for GT3s on Monday night. I know, obviously, the Pro-Am split is not going to be broadcast, but with the calibre of the guys that are racing in there, it is very eventful racing around the Nords 24 layout, and I'm sure the guys in the Pro split that will obviously be on broadcast, they're going to put on, going to put on one hell of a show for you boys. The other one I'm looking forward to myself personally is going to be the V8 cars Super Sprint around Chicago. I hope everybody brings an umbrella and maybe some gumboots. I don't think it's going to get that wet, but you're definitely going to need a brolly. And then for some hopefully nabbing myself a podium finish in the championship there, and then potentially another podium finish in the Porsche Cup on Thursdays. But definitely looking forward to the finale of the Indy cars next week around the Brickyard. If it draws as many cars as I'm thinking it possibly is going to, being it is the finale and it is obviously at such an iconic circuit, I reckon it's going to be on for young and old. So it should definitely put on a good show.
And the fact that it is going to bring the curtain down on term 2, get us to the halfway mark of the year, start us off on a 2 and a bit week break, a 16-day break, with the exception of the Australian Open World Nationals, of course. It'll bring everybody out before we park up and rest and recoup ahead of term 3 for a very brief period in the grand scheme of things. That first break blitzed on by. That 2 weeks was a blur to me because it included a trip down south to Cessnock. It included winding the clock forward 112 years and a few other things as well. So, yes, I don't have much recollection of the first break, and I'm sure I won't have much recollection of the second either, which concludes for me, actually, with the Australian Open World Nationals, the GT Pro Invitational from Grenfell, of all places, in southwest New South Wales, and then completes with a trip back to Cessnock on the Monday, ready for the broadcast of GT3 on the Monday night in the main course slot. And we're yet to confirm what's in the entree slot. Waste Options GT3 night on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Joe Baldwin, some final thoughts from you.
Look, I think the next week is going to be not to be missed. Round 10, obviously, the grand final week. I'm looking forward to it. The Wednesday nights in the NASCAR, I know where I have to finish to beat young Strider, who's not going to be there. Like it's
yes,
dirty way to win because he's away. But hey, you got to take him when you can get him. So, but I mean, that's about all I've raced this season. Has been the NASCARs, and look, I don't know. We'll have a chat on the weekend. And one thing to look out for too, this Sunday, the committee is actually going to live stream our committee meetings from this point going forwards. I think something that it's probably become apparent is, and it's come about by having a few people sit in on committee meetings, and we've had really positive feedback by the people that have been there. Didn't realise how serious we take it and how well we run it is what they're saying to us. So we've decided we're going to live stream it for people to actually see what we do behind the scenes, because it's certainly not an easy task. It's like, you know, herding 1,000 sheep with one stick. You know, sometimes trying to keep everyone happy and trying to do what we do in the background. Like there's a lot of work, and we're all volunteers, and just take the opportunity, I guess, to let the broader community see actually what goes on in the background, organising what we do. So, and one of the things that we're going to be discussing will be the schedule for next season. So that's going to be part of the discussion on Sunday. I think young Josh Wino is going to be the head of broadcasting that one out. So that's something to look forward to, something different, a little bit different broadcast this Sunday is going to be coming, but
So that will be on the YouTube channel where people watch the broadcast, Joe? Is that what you're selling?
Will. Yep. They'll
Yeah,
be on,
right,
on
okay,
the,
yeah.
either the YouTube or Facebook or both. More than likely just on the YouTube.
Right, that's awesome.
So just, and it's, I mean, you've sat in on them, Zach, you know what they're all about. And I think it's probably important to, we haven't had an iron curtain at any stage. So anyone's been free to come and join, but we figure rather than trying to get people to come to us, we're just going to take it to them and let people see actually what goes on.
And of course, if they're able to throw questions at you and comments at you the way that they do on broadcast here, then obviously you can answer them on the go and everybody's on the same page. I like the idea. Let's hope it works.
May open the floor for about 30 seconds once we get all the official stuff done. We'll see how we go for time. But look, I'm actually looking forward to the to week 10 and then obviously the couple of weeks off, and we'll use that time to start getting our ducks in a row for the upcoming AGM in August. I mean, it's August is a couple of months away, but I'll tell you what, it's going to come around quick. So. But we probably should get on and have a look. Oh, I didn't change.
No.
Look at this. I buggered it up yet again. I've been too busy doing other stuff. So
What have you buggered up for me, Joe?
I haven't put the Audi.
Oh yes, no. I was going to say if that's all it is. If that screen's been on for a couple of minutes and you've been talking to no one except Greg, Matt, Craig, and I was going to say that would have been a messy sort of explanation.
No, I just didn't put the car in for tomorrow night. That's all.
Brilliant. 1 for 33 South Africa, 6.2 overs. They're going along at 5 and over at the moment. World Test Championship finale at Lords, but once those wickets start falling, they'll fall and drop like Skittles, I'm sure. So Pat Cummins has the new ball in hand at the moment. There's the agenda for what's coming your way on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Got a bit of housekeeping to cover off here in a moment, but let's start with the obvious, and that is, as Joe said, the Audi GTO tomorrow night, 32 laps, race start 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then, make a note of all of this. Extended broadcasts at the back end of the night next week, because we've got later finishes across our main course offerings Monday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday night. At Watkins Glen, the Cup configuration circuit for what will be the final round of Waste Options GT4. Hopefully a better showing for Aidan Cale in the Orbit Drop Air stable there, and also at the Nordschleife than what it was tonight in Portland. Watkins Glen Cup, 45 minutes the journey, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Adam Lavis and I are with you from 7:25. Then onto the Nordschleife. Slightly later start time, because the longer race for GT4, to allow for the overlap and to allow drivers enough time to jump in and have a lap of the Nords. And there'll be a bit of carryover with qualifying time as well, being such a long circuit. So that start time might not either necessarily be 8:45 on the nose either. 8:45 is, however, listed as the time it ticks in on server. So that is the time it's listed on your screen there, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, rather. Nürburgring Nordschleife for the 24-hour configuration, all 25 kilometres of that colossal mecca. And we will look forward to bringing you that 90-minute races. Harrison Lillis breaks the Dench domination. It's a drought breaker for anybody that hasn't been named Matthew Dench. It's been a long time. 2021, term 4 was the last time we saw Dench's name not at the top of the GT3 summit. So tune in for history one way or another next Monday night. But equally, I'm so much looking forward to term 3 in the sense that Dench will want redemption. Dench will want to get square. And Dench will come back with vengeance, looking for title number 14. So that's 8:45. Then Tuesday night, no guarantee that we'll broadcast this, especially with the fields as pitiful as they were this week. At Detroit Grand Prix of Belle Isle in Uptown, Michigan. That will be for the HPD Downforce Legends, 7:45 Eastern, 2 sprint races there. Then on to the Monza circuit, the Temple of Speed in Italy for the final round of Titanic CR. I hate to say it, but it's heading in the same direction as the Australian Real World equivalent at the moment. It's heading for a date with an iceberg. A super sprint format there, 3 races, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm here all week, aren't I? So, yeah, Dan Yeoman and I are with you Wednesday night, 75 laps around Bristol, or 60 minutes, whichever comes first, because, as we know, based on what we saw this week, time certainty creeps in the ARCA series. more often than not, such as the frequent deployment of the safety car. I did see someone paying about $1.05 odds on that we would have a safety car every 3 laps there at Bristol on Wednesday night. Let's hope that isn't the case. Bristol, 75 laps, ARCA finale, and that's with thanks to Orbig Australia, 7:30 Eastern. And then at 9 p.m, because that's a 60-minute race. So, again, we've got a half-hour carryover time there. 60 minutes for them means a slightly later start for the supercars. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Chicago Street Circuit, the Super Sprint format. 3 races ahead of us. Hope you can join us for the title decider for both the elite and development split, rather, of the Trophy AI Supercar Championship. Thursday night, the Spreyton Cider Wings and Slicks Super Formula Light Grand Finale takes us to Sebring International Raceway in Florida. 7:30 Eastern, 40 minutes the journey. Jackson Rayhana versus Denny Davison for the title. Then, the Porsche Cup. And Corey Lazarus has got his nose back in front, but 3 races around Sandown. The assignment that he has to navigate his way through in order to seal the deal and tick the box and secure title number 3. It is Corey Lazarus versus Hayden Smith and a couple of others. Sam Chapman's an outside chance as well for the title. Sandown the venue. Super Sprint format, 3 races. Invert top 8 for the second race. Invert top 12 for the third. Same format as the supercars on Wednesday night. That is from 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, although don't be surprised because the Super Formula Light race is only 40 minutes. If that does actually come back to 8:45, but if it is 9 o'clock, then we'll bring you qualifying from Sandown because that's 50 minutes layoff time between the end of Sebring and the start of Sandown, which is usually a little bit too long. And then next Friday night, GSRC Formula Ford, Brands Hatch Indy, the venue. Can Jeff Adams secure the title, or will Adam Lavis or Art Baz people at the post? We'll find out next Friday night. Brands Hatch Indy, great circuit choice for the grand finale of the Formula Fords. And that is from 7:30 Eastern. And then Joe, Greg and I with you for the 125 lap or 90 minutes, whichever comes first encounter around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana. The greatest spectacle in racing, GSRC style, a Spreyton Cider, Road to Indy, GSRC Indy 500K finale. And that is from 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. Hope you can join us for that. Huge week ahead on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and really some of the most iconic circuits in the world. We mentioned Sebring, we mentioned Watkins Glen, we mentioned the Nordschleife, we mentioned Sandown, and so many others, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well. Some of the most iconic circuits in the world will host grand finales across all our series next week as the curtain comes down on Turn 2 action on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. If you want to get your hands on some GSRC merch, you do it via gsrcmerch.myshopify.com or merch.tgsrci.com. If you want to get involved in what we do, and we've had this question a few times in recent weeks, boys, which is a great sign for the club going forward, a real positive, actually, to be fair. We've had so many people inquire within to see how they get involved in what we do here. They do it by heading to race.tgsrci.com, race.tgsrci.com. Quickly, Australia struggling. South Africa are taking them to the sword. 1 for 41 in the 8th over. So South Africa are offering up a fight for the World Test Championship supremacy. Lords, you can watch that on Amazon Prime. You can listen to it on SE, and we're just about done. A big night here. Huge night, in fact, as far as the 2 championships are concerned. Marcus Watson versus Adam Lavis next week. Jeff Adams versus Art Baz and Adam Lavis. Adam Lavis could potentially be a 2-time champion, a Friday night champion this time next week, but he would need results to fall his way at Sebring. At Brands Hatch, and then he would need results to fall his way at the Brickyard. I'm backing him in, just quietly. No offense to Marcus, but Adam has a way on ovals, and he's done it before. And Trent's won at the Brickyard too, so Adam would love to emulate that. I don't want to put the mocker on him or the curse or anything like that, but he's in the fight for 2, so I reckon he wins one of them. And Jeff Adams has had a magnificent season in Formula Ford. Big weekend of real-world motorsport this weekend. 4 a.m. Monday morning, Canadian Formula 1 Grand Prix. That's Eastern Standard Time, of course. Later that morning, you've got the Indycar race from Gateway, of course, St. Louis, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Illinois. That is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Joe can watch that one over breakfast from work or morning tea. 4:30 a.m. that morning, so concurrently with the Formula One is the NASCAR from Mexico City. First time to the circuit there in Mexico, and an historic weekend for NASCAR. The Australian Karting Championship this weekend as well. Good luck to our mates that are racing down there. We do have a couple of club members that are karters. The Newcastle Kart Club hosting that. You can watch the action tomorrow and Sunday afternoon on 7+. The Australian Superbike Championship is out where I was last weekend. Morgan Park Raceway in Warwick. You can watch that on Sunday via their socials, SBS and Stan Sport. And, of course, the jewel in the crown, the staple of this time of the year, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, 11 p.m. tomorrow night, with a race start at midnight Eastern, and that will be live on Stan Sport. I think I've covered it all. World Superbikes from Mazzano in there just for good measure as well. So it is an enormous weekend. Hope you enjoyed it. A big Friday night. They all seem to be at this time of the year. Next week's will be even bigger. The grand finale, the GSRC Indy 500K. It's all made possible with thanks to Spreyton Cider, of course, on a Friday night, but also, of course, our other great sponsors who are scrolling across the bottom and the top of your screen there. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. We're about to enter grand final week for season 21, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Go out and enjoy your weekend, ladies and gentlemen, however you may be spending it. Which is good news for local sport. We look forward to your company again. Flash graphics, Johnny Simpson. No, you didn't. Audi GTO. Audi GTO is the car of choice tomorrow night for the Mountain Men, mate. We'll cover that off for you now. Audi GTO. Although that comment came in, oh, no, that's about 10 minutes ago. So I hope Johnny's still watching. Audi GTO, the car of choice tomorrow night for the Mountain Men. I think we're done. Going once, going twice, third and final time. Last call. Done. Thanks for your company. Hope you enjoyed it. I had no objections from my 4 colleagues here in the studio at this point. So I'm saying goodbye. Hope you enjoyed the action for week 9 of term 2 on the platforms of the Gentleman's Sim Racing Club. This historic 21st season draws to a close next week. Champions will be crowned, and we'll bring you every step of the ride right here across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. It all starts 7:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday night, with Adam Lavis and I. And I'll be here right throughout the course of the week with Dan Yeoman, Matt Schmidtke, Joe Baldwin, Greg Heaney, all the crew, and looking forward to your company. I'm sure Banksy will enjoy Le Mans, and he'll come back fresh off the long run, ready to fire back into commentary life and action in term 3. So we hope he enjoys that. We hope you enjoy a massive weekend as well, and we hope you'll recharge the batteries enough to be ready to rock and roll here Monday night. Because, as I said earlier, with the later finishes, you're going to need the coffee to be brewing a little bit later into the evening than you otherwise normally would. 11:30 will be par for the course for much of the week if we get our usual post-race show length for the grand final week, as we so often have done. I'm pretty sure Adam Lavis and I saw midnight earlier in the year with the Term 1 grand finale for GT3, so don't rule that out either. On behalf of the crew, Joe Baldwin, Greg Heaney, the team, I'm Zach Caban. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Until next time, it's bye for now.